championship round, and this is Class F versus senior high school partner.
Yes, partner. So, no, this is the full round nga ng ating St. Augustine's Interdepartmental Debate Series, and we have the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education and the Senior High School Department na maghaharap ngayong umaga at magpapalitan na naman ng mga maiinit na salita, partner. No? And also, I would like to remind everybody that this is the last day ng ating University Week, kaya encourage ko ang lahat na mag-visit sa Facebook page ng ating student government sa sa Facebook, partner, and check sa mga updates at mga dapat antabayanan, partner, para sa mamayang gabi. We have a lot of activities and also the awarding night ng ating mga activities sa University Week, partner. No? And also, again, we are live via Facebook, partner. No? So sa mga manonood natin dyan sa ating Facebook Live, no, don't forget to react, comment, and share our feed para at least makareach tayo ng mas maraming audience. And as of the moment, we have 56 na Facebook viewers, no? Wow. And I can see mga comments coming from different colleges.
Marami na din.
Yes, partner, no? Mga nag-a-attendan sa comment section, partner, no? So sa mga supporters ng klase and also senior high school dyan, don't forget to show your support, no? Comment down yung mga gusto niyong sabihin. And also sa mga dyan, no? Sa mga nagko-comment. Ayan, meron akong nakita from Sherin Rose Soltis, Kampiyon Padayon, Bangon, Ipakigbato. I think this is a supporter of the Senior High School Department, partner, no?
Yes. Soar high, fly high, senior high. Asan yung mga taga-klase?
Ayan. Wala pa siguro, no? Hintayin natin mamaya, partner, pag uminit na yung laban, pag nagharap na yung mga debaters natin, no? Tignan natin mamaya yung mga comments from the live sa ating Facebook page, partner, no?
Ayan, good luck po sa inyong lahat, and I hope na mag-enjoy kayo sa championship round na ito. So anyways, partner, to head start the event, we will have our opening prayer followed by our national anthem and Augustinian hymn.
This is truth, this is beauty, this is wisdom, I am free. Late have I loved thee, oh beauty, so ancient yet so new.
This is beauty, this is wisdom, I am free. Late have I loved thee, oh beauty, so ancient yet so new. Pero sa silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyang ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pansisiin. Sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mong mukha, may talagang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal. Ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na naniningin. Ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may magdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng walhati pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may makaapi, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Ayan, partner, no? So again, good morning to our mga participants dito sa Zoom and also sa ating mga viewers sa Facebook page, partner, no? So, feeling mo, partner, excited na kaya lahat ngayon para sa final round ng ating St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series. So this final round, again, partner, no, we have the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education, and the Senior High School Department na mag-aharap. So kanina meron akong nakita, no, sa ating comment section sa Facebook Live, maraming nagsisend ng white hearts, partner, no, from the College of Liberal Arts nung tinawag natin yung mga fans and also supporters ng ating klase department, partner.
Yes, partner. And marami-rami na din yung nag-a-attendan sa ating Facebook Live.
Yes, partner. One from Rafi Palmares. Let's go, classes. Sending green hearts and also white heart, partner, no?
Ayan, partner. Anyways, I have a trivia ngayong umaga. So, sa ating mga audience, partner. Excited ka na ba kailangan ng trivia ko, partner?
Yes naman, partner. Na-excite ako kasi may patrivia ka ngayong araw, partner. So,
partner.
Pinaghandaan ang final round, no? Hindi lang ng ating mga debaters and researchers, and pati na rin ng ating host. May patrivia po tayo ngayon. So ano kaya yung trivia natin, partner?
Yes, partner. Alam mo ba, partner, na this is already the third time, partner. 3 times nang naghaharap ang klase at senior high school sa final round ng Interdepartmental Debate Series, partner. Ayun.
Wow, grabe. Wow. Grabe. Sigurado akong mag-iinit na naman ang laban if this is the third time, partner, no? So ibig sabihin, grabe talaga ang College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education and the Senior High School Department, no? That they nagharap na sila sa final round ng 3 beses, partner, no? So dahil may patrivia ka ngayon, partner, may trivia din ako para sa iyo, partner.
Aba, ano yun, partner?
Yes naman. Paghahandaan natin to. So ito, partner, trivia natin. Did you know that the St. Augustine's Cup started in the 1980s? More than 4 decades na rin, partner. It was initiated by the Social Science Class Department, headed by Dr. Nora Legaspi, former chairman of the Social Science Department and former dean of the College of Arts and Sciences, partner. So matagal-tagal na rin, partner, for almost 4 decades, partner.
Grabe pala, partner, no? Malayo-layo na rin pala ang narating ng St. Augustine's Cup, no? Kaya we really acknowledge yung mga taong nasa likod ng event na ito. And as we transition to the digital world, the debate continues to innovate and develop, coping with the changes in our society.
Yes naman, partner, no, na kahit we are still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic, partner, no, nagawa pa rin natin ipagpatuloy ang event na ito. And I think this is already the second time na we are doing this virtually, partner, no. So kudos sa ating event organizer, partner, no. And also we would like to acknowledge the coordinators from College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education and the Senior High School Department, no, sa patuloy nilang pagsuporta sa kanilang mga estudyante, partner. And coming from the classic coordinators, partner. No, we have James, Mozart, Amsua, and Asisclo the Third Abonado. And also, we would like to give a shout out sa ating Dean partner now, Dr. Nanalyn D. De La Fuente. Hello, Dr. Nanalyn. I think andito na siya ngayon sa ating Zoom platform, partner, no?
Yes, partner. And of course, nandito din ating coordinator from the Senior High School Department. So we have Professor John Christian Cabales. And the coach for our Senior High School, we have Professor Rodney Bando. And of course, partner, our principal, we have Dr. May Ann Harrow. Hello, Dr. May Ann.
Hello, Dr. Mayan. No? So I think Dr. Mayan knows our faces, no, partner. No?
Yes.
She's our teacher sa Hiligaynon nung third year college tayo, partner. No? So hello, Dr. Mayan.
So partner, there you have it, partner, no? Grabe sa support din ang mga students from the klase at senior high school sa FB Live natin ngayon. Ito nga, partner, oh. Good luck, everyone. May nabasa ko from Seth Ventoranza. Ayun. So anyway, partner, to give us his opening remarks, let us all welcome with virtual applause the Director of the Student Affairs and Welfare Office, Mr. Eric C. De Vinagracia. Hello, Sir Eric.
Hello and good morning, Resty and Jaren. First and foremost, congratulations on your last year at the University of San Agustin. And we wish you all the best as you prepare for your graduation, a commencement to the next chapter of your lives. To the distinguished members of the faculty of the Social Science Department, which I affiliate to the distinguished USA Student Government, which I'm also a part of as a Student Affairs and Welfare Office Director, to the wonderful teams that are coming together. I am an alumni of both high school and the College of Liberal Arts, now Klase. So my allegiances are split in two, to Dr. Nenalyn De La Fuente, to Dr. Yanaro, mayong aga sa inyong tanan. Today, we celebrate the last day of the University Week, and as they say, save the best for last, perhaps. And we are here once again at the St. Augustine's Cup debate finals. This year, our theme is Usa Kagugma, celebrating the love of Augustinians for all things, that are set forth before us, but love that is not just love for love's sake, but love with a purpose, As Augustinians, we utilize our passion for purpose. In this particular case, debate. Our love and passion for debate is utilized to champion the truth. Hopefully, with evidences, we are able to establish proof. Hopefully, with facts, we're able to establish the truth that we need to see, with the issue at hand, a controversial issue, no less. While the ICC, for example, may be too far from the minds and hearts of people, it is important that debates such as this elevate the discourse, provide opportunities where we can discuss not only the issues in our background, in our backyard rather, but issues that are of international significance, and national significance as well. This year we also highlight the theme Pinasanag, and this is our own way of participating in nation building. We're at a crucial stage in the country where we are just about to elect the next set of national leaders that will lead the country. And the debate provides us an opportunity to check our leaders on the policies that they stand for, on the platforms that they stand on. So the debate is an opportunity for us to remind ourselves that the next time we see what is considered as facts, the next time we see evidences, we may look into them and fact check them and make sure that they compel us to advocate for the truth. So I hope that this debate becomes lively, but lively not in the sense that we all end fighting each other. We all end up with saying who is the best college or department is in this debate, but lively in such a way that we are closer to the truth that we advocate for. So for both of the teams, I feel you. I was once in your shoes, and now debating for things that matter, arguing and championing and advocating for things that matter. I do hope you learn from this, and I congratulate you already, your coaches, your team of faculty members, your alumni, your students here gathered to cheer you on. To all of the teams, the best of luck. As we say in the theater, break a leg. And for the organizers, congratulations to our dear Social Science Department and to the USA Student Government for pushing this legacy through. Sa inyong nga tanan, usa ka gugma, pinasanag kita, and Viva San Agustin. Mayong aga sa tanan.
Mayroong aga, Sir Eric, and thank you very much no sa isang opening remarks, and also Sir again so sabi ni ni Sir Eric Porter na hoping din tayo sa isang face-to-face na graduation. And again, I would like to congratulate all the candidates ng ating graduating this year, partner, for surviving kahit na we have this pandemic, partner. And also yung sinabi nga ni Sir Eric, partner, yung pinasanag. So we use this debate, partner, to utilize our passion for a purpose, and also gives us an opportunity to talk about topics and issues sa ating bansa, partner.
Yes, partner. Ako naman yung pinaka-favorite na narinig ko from Sir Eric is the debate provides an opportunity to remind ourselves what is considered as facts. Now, partner.
Yes, partner, no? Yeah. Yung sinabi din ni Sir Eric kanina na about dun sa tawag dito, yung sa election, malapit na nga ang ating election, and sana makapili tayo ng maayos at matalinong leader para sa ating bansa. And sabi ni Sir Eric dito sa comment section ng Zoom, shout out to Miss Joji and Sir Edwin. Salamat, USASG and SOCSI Department.
Shout out. So, partner, anyways, now to formally introduce our judges, moderator, and tabulator, we have Miss Evelyn Dominguez, faculty member of the USA Social Science Department and Debate Series overall coordinator. Good morning, Miss Ev.
Good morning. Okay, at this juncture, it's time to meet our panel of judges. It's a great honor for me to introduce and welcome them. Our first judge is an assistant professor at the University of the Philippines in the Visayas, where she teaches literature, film, and communications. She is also the current director of the UPV's Information and Publications Office, and an experienced international debater and public speaker. Besides teaching, her professional career has covered marketing and management for numerous prominent international institutions, such as the O2 Telecommunications, the British Broadcasting Corporation, Gazprom Energy, Care UK, and the UK's National Health Service, to name a few. She obtained her bachelor's degree in literature from the University of the Philippines in the Visayas in 2008. And she completed her master's degree in contemporary literature and film at Manchester Metropolitan University in 2016. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me to welcome our first judge, Professor Julie Pasco. Our next judge is a graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Philosophy at Negros Occidental Recoletos. He finished his Bachelor in Sacred Theology and Licentiate in Philosophy at University of Santo Tomas Central Seminary. Completed his Master of Religious Studies at La Consolacion College in Bacolod City. But not least, he holds a degree of Doctor in Philosophy and Doctor in Philosophy and Social Sciences. He earns these degrees from University of St. LaSalle Bacolod and Silliman University, respectively. At present, he is a faculty member of University of St. LaSalle Bacolod, teaching college students on the following courses: Religious Studies, Philosophy, Public Speaking and Debate, Social Sciences, Bioethics in the College of Medicine, Peace and Conflict Management and Methods of Research in the University of St. LaSalle Bacolod Graduate School. He is a lecturer of philosophy in Marian Seminary of the Holy Cross and St. John Vianney Seminary. He is a former moderator and coach of USLS 1 LaSalle debate team, moderator and coach of USLS College of Medicine debate team. He is a speaker and debater of Catholic Faith Defender Bacolod chapter. Our second judge is no other than Dr. Ronnie O. Galzote. Our third judge finished her Bachelor of Arts major in Social Science and English as cum laude in 1987. She also attained her Bachelor in Secondary Education, major in English, minor in Social Science in 1988, and she is a Master of Arts in English, major in Linguistics. She completed her Bachelor of Laws in the University of San Agustin in 1994 and finished her Master in Public Administration in 2009. She teaches social science, political science, argumentation and debate, the art of public speaking, principles of management, and mass media law and ethics. She was a former chief judge in Pop Dev Debate, St. Augustine's Cap Debate Series, Central Philippine University Debate Series, and John Bill Lacson Foundation Debate Series. Our third judge is no other than Professor Belen Gabo Carrion. Our next judge is the VP External of Daily Guardian, the most innovative media outlet in Western Visayas. As VP External, he handles marketing, content generation, and partnerships. He is also the founder and CEO of Prometheus, the first and only full-service public relations firm and in several competitions in the Philippines and abroad, including being the team captain of the Ateneo Law ANC Square Ops, winning several awards, most notable of which are the following: third best oralist and semi-finalist, Southeast Asia Regional Rounds, Stetson Environmental Law Moot Court Competition, best speaker, Commission on Human Rights Debate Cup, champion, best oralist, and best memorial, Wenceslao de la Paz Moot Court Competition, finalist and best memorial, Ateneo Law School Colayco Cup. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Mr. Elcid Crescent Fernandez. To complete our panel of judges, we have with us a practicing lawyer, a debater during his years of youth. He won the UP Inter-College debate for 3 consecutive years and was awarded as Best Speaker for 2 consecutive years. He is one of the 2010 SmartProf Top 25 Marketing Management Trainees of the Philippines. He is a 2-time quarter-finalist of the Visayas University's Debate Championship that was awarded as the 6th and second best speaker from his years of competition. He took part in the adjudication core of the Visayas University's Debate Championship, in charge of formulating debate topics and judges as chair in each debate round for 2 consecutive years. In 2013, he was deemed champion of the 2nd Cebu Intervarsities against Ateneo de Manila University and was awarded 9th Best Speaker of the tournament. He then represented the University of San Carlos for ANC Square Off, the law debates, and faced University of the Philippines College of Law in the final round last 2014. Recently, he was invited to be one of the judges of the most prestigious law debate competition in the Philippines, ANC Square Off, the law debates. My pride and pleasure to introduce Attorney Frederick Lois S. Regencia. Our panel of judges are indeed well chosen. I repeat, we have with us Professor Julie Prescott, Dr. Ronnie A. Galzote, Professor Belen Gabo Carrion, Mr. Elcid Crescent Fernandez, and Attorney Frederick Lois S. Regencia. On behalf of all gathered here, I welcome our panel of judges to this virtual debate of University of San Agustin. Our moderator for this morning's debate, he is a graduate of AB Philosophy from Casasiaco Seminario Mayor in Baguio City. Thereafter, he pursued both College of Law and Master of Arts in Education, major in Social Science from University of San Agustin. He is a former member of the Social Science faculty, teaching history and social sciences subjects, one of the coaches of the USA debating team, and currently the sports director of the University of San Agustin. He has been in the past our moderator in the St. Augustine's CAP. Let's welcome our moderator. The tabulator for this event, she is the academic supervisor of mathematics and statistics in the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Education. Let's welcome Dr. Rodora Cartagena. Okay, thank you very much. Back to you, Jaren and Aresti.
Thank you, Ma'am Eve.
Oops, sorry partner, no? Naka-mute. Naka-mute. Close partner. Again. Sorry. Again, thank you, Miss Evelyn Dominguez, for introducing our judges, no? And also, apologies to our judge, no? Kasi medyo nag-mix up yung ating mga pictures. So if we can go back to our first judge, no? Para at least we can present them properly and makita yung kanilang beautiful faces, partner. And going back. Again, yeah, we have our first judge, Professor Julie Prescott. And then our second judge, we have Dr. Ronnie Olgozote. And for our third judge, we have Professor Belen Gabo Carrion. And for our fourth judge, we have Mr. Elsie Preston Fernandez. And for our fifth and last judge, we have Attorney Frederick Luis S. Regentia. And also for our moderator and tabulator, now we have our most handsome, Mr. Demosthenes Toledo. And also for our tabulator, we have Dr. Rodora Cartagena. So I'll give them a round of virtual applause, everybody. Sa mga Facebook viewers natin dyan, no? Don't forget to show your support sa ating College of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Education, and also sa ating Senior High School Department kasi malapit na partner, malapit na sila magharap at partner, no? Magbigay ng mga maiinit na salita, partner.
Yes, partner, and good morning sa ating mga judges, moderator, and tabulator.
Yes, welcome. And at this part of our program, we will be introducing the proposition and the debaters and researchers coming from the both opposing department, partner, no? So, sino-sino kaya sila at ano kaya ang kanilang pag-uusapan? So, for our proposition, next slide.
Okay, for our proposition, let it be resolved that the International Criminal Court continues the investigation on the anti-drug war in the Philippines.
Wow, grabe. Para mabigat to, partner, no? Mabigat ang pag-uusapan nila ngayon. And this topic as well is very timely na rin, partner, no? Because marami na rin news ang lumalabas about this issue, partner, sa ating bansa. And to introduce our debaters and researchers from the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Education, they are at the affirmative side ng event na ito, partner, no? And for our debaters, we have the first affirmative speaker, Adelmar Javier Jr., and for our second affirmative speaker, we have Lou Michaela Fruto. And for our third affirmative speaker, we have Ram Angeli Valasote. We would like to acknowledge as well the researchers coming from the class department. We have Francis Louis Laborada, Edrin D. Buday, and Snow Jewel Shane Dosaya.
And for our senior high school, next cut. Ayun. Next. So we have Angeli Marie Garrido for our first speaker, and for our second speaker, we have Mark Hendricks Lapak, and for our third speaker, we have Shenly Descalzo, and for our researcher, we have John Michael Alayon, and for our second researcher, we have Abigail Marie Buanga, and for our third speaker, we have Iya Gian de la Serna. Ayun.
Yes, partner, no? Parang remembering from the elimination and the semifinals, no? Ang mga itsura na ito din, ang nagpainit ng laban, partner. And also seeing from the comment section, marami tayong comments coming from the supporters from the class and senior high school department, partner, no? Coming from Igor Gayoba, ibang klase, maraming ibang klase. Well, yes, ibang klase talaga sa klase, no? And also coming from the senior high school department, we have from Sandy Grace, Kampiyon Padayon Bangon, Ipakikbato Senior High. So again, let's give them a heart react and also maybe a wow or heart or a like, no? Paliguan natin sila ng heart, like, and also wow reaction sa ating Facebook Live, partner, no?
Yes, anyways, partner, there you have it, partner, no? Welcome again to our debaters, and this is the final round of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series 2022. And the winner of this round will win the prestigious debate cup na pinag-aagawan ng mga departments sa USA and some exciting prizes na rin, partner. Huwag na po nating patagalin pa to formally start the debate. Let's give the floor to our moderator, to our handsome moderator, Professor Demosthenes Toledo. Hello, Professor.
Yes, good morning, Jairine and John. What a compliment. So it's also a privilege to return back that compliment to our beautiful and most handsome host and co-host for this championship debate. Anyway, it's an honor and privilege to be your moderator for this USA Debate Cup. We tag that as USA. What's the tag name? USA Kugugma. Is that correct? So anyway, this is a very timely debate. As we all know, our country is facing this particular issue. And I understand that both sides, the affirmative and the negative side, are now eager and are very, I think, siguro sobrang masarap na para sa kanila to deliver their own ideas and position. So without much ado, we will now start this championship debate. And I'm calling now the first speaker of the affirmative side to give us his speech. First speaker, please, if you are ready, you can have your microphone tested, your audio,
Mic
please.
test. Mic test.
Okay, clear enough. So very clear. In any moment, you can start your speech.
There is no investigation in the entire country that can guarantee a fair result. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, to our judges, Mr. Moderator, and to my fellow contenders. As the first speaker of the affirmative side, it is my duty to present you with a prima facie case and to prove that it is necessary that the International Criminal Court continues its investigation on the war on drugs in the Philippines. Before I proceed with my arguments, I shall first state the definition and parameters for today's debate. The International Criminal Court is an intergovernmental organization and international tribunal that investigates and, where warranted, tries individual charges with the gravest crimes of concern to the international community: genocide, war crimes, crimes against humanity, and crimes of aggression. Investigation refers to observe or study by close examination and systematic inquiry, an official examination of the facts about a situation and crime, among others. Anti-drug war, referring to the war on drugs. This is the anti-drug campaign commenced under the administration of the Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte, with the objective being the neutralization of illegal drug personalities nationwide. Continues, refer to resume any suspended, postponed, or interrupted action from a given point of time. Parameters. International studies from accredited international bodies are accepted. Only references and information acquired from primary, secondary, and tertiary sources will be acknowledged. Other sources aside from the three mentioned above will not be recognized and won't have merit on this debate. Social media in the form of Twitter is only recognized for this debate. Religion and personal beliefs shall also not bear merit in this academic debate. I have three arguments for this debate. There is a lack of an independent and effective investigation on the war on drugs in the Philippines. Second, backlash politics. And third, the ICC's power to suspend is merely discretionary. First, there is a lack of an independent and effective investigation on the war on drugs in the Philippines. President Duterte started the illegal drug campaign with the command Memorandum Circular number 16, 2016, and was institutionalized through Executive Order 66, which were referenced from his pronouncement to get rid of illegal drugs during the first 6 months of his term. According to Human Rights Watch, President Duterte had the occasion to urge the PNP to kill in the name of the war on drugs with the promise of pardon that is justified as a fulfillment of a duty to one's country. His pronouncement up to date made direct influence upon the number of police officers who have committed grave abuse and illicit activities pursuant to such. In 2016 alone, at least 470 were killed in police operations. Jefferson Bunuan, a 20-year-old criminology student of Kaibigan Foundation, suffered his demise at the hands of the PNP as a result of the PNP self-defense. Carl was allegedly killed in a shootout between him and the police. How autopsy results showed Carl suffered torture and impunity. The justification for these high number of killings committed by police authorities is self-defense. Among the 5,655 anti-illegal drug operations where deaths occurred, only 302 cases have been reviewed despite the war on drugs killing starting in 2016. These numbers are not only alarming, but also shocking to the very fiber of society. The President, under Section 17 of the Article 7 of the Constitution, has the power of executive control. That being said, the Department of Justice, as among the agencies conducting the investigation of the war on drugs, is susceptible to any forms of control that the President may desire to influence the results of the investigation. His power under the Alter Ego Doctrine, which allows him to override the actions of these executive departments, is a way for him to fabricate the results of such investigations in favor of him. Thus, even if the DOJ is capable of investigating, it cannot guarantee impartiality of the same. The results remain questionable given the influence and capabilities of the president, and these investigatory bodies, being mostly of it, are under his executive control. Under our justice system, our court is bound to rule on facts presented and the applicable law upon acquiring jurisdiction. Here, that is not the case. The absence of an independent investigation in our country is a challenge to the impartiality of facts with the investigations. Second, the international effects of backlash politics rather. The Philippines has demonstrated backlash politics or attack credibility through its withdrawal from the International Criminal Court. According to Hillebrecht, this act undercuts the ability of international courts to provide accountability for perpetrators and justice for victims. The Philippines' retaliation for ramifications that go far beyond this case. The withdrawal of Manila from the Rome Statute is a manifest of abuse and a serious threat to human rights, as it disregards international proceedings, such as the case of the suspicious deaths in the Philippines. These threats of refusal to cooperate and the imposition of bureaucratic and procedural delays all underline and intensify ICC's fragility and presents an illusion our courts are working and are able to prosecute with impartiality based on facts. But it is otherwise. We cannot allow such acts to proliferate in matters concerning our very human rights. Third, and my last argument, the ICC's power to suspend is merely discretionary. The spirit of Article 19, Section 7 of the Rome Statute provides that if a state challenges the investigation, the same shall be suspended by the prosecutor until such time as the court makes a determination that the case is inadmissible. This applies when a state has jurisdiction over a matter but remains unwilling or unable to genuinely carry out the investigation or prosecution. In the determination of willingness, one or more of the following exist as applicable. The proceedings undertaken made for the purpose of shielding the person concerned from criminal responsibility, unjustified delay in the proceedings, or the absence or question of independence or impartiality. The court has reasonable basis to continue with its investigation in the sense that the crime against humanity of murder has been committed, and that potential cases arising from this investigation fall within court's jurisdiction. Here, Duterte made moves to withdraw from the statute to deprive the ICC of jurisdiction to try him, invoke Philippine sovereignty, and consequently sent the deferral letter to the court, effectively delaying the investigations. His hold over the executive department and his political tactics may have proven to delay the administration of justice, but also turn the scales in favor to him. Therefore, it is prudent to proceed with the investigation under the ICC. As held in People versus Luna, the law being a creature of justice is blind towards the guilty and the innocent. The court, as justice incarnate, must then be relentless in exacting the standards laid down by our laws. For when the fundamental rights of life and liberty are already hanging in the balance, it is the court that must, at the risk of letting the guilty go unpunished, remain unforgiving in its calling. I submit myself to interpellation.
There you are. Thank you very much. First speaker from the affirmative side, from Class C Department. Now we would like to call in the first negative speaker for the interpellation. First speaker from the negative. Can you put on your camera?
Good morning. Am I audible?
Yes. Clear enough?
Is this better?
Yeah.
Okay, very
You can
well.
proceed. Okay, you can
I
proceed.
shall begin. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Good morning.
Is it not that you mentioned in your speech different violations of human rights as well as delayed justices?
Delayed justices. Yes, there is a
Okay.
delayed justice with
So
regard
thank
to the
you,
human
Mr. Speaker.
rights.
I am satisfied with your answer. So
Proceed.
are you
With regard
saying,
to the
okay,
I'm sorry.
I'm satisfied. Are you saying that these resulted from the suspension of the investigation?
No, I am trying to say that the investigations that are being done in the
But are
Philippines
you
are
saying, thank
ineffective.
you, Mr. Speaker, I'm satisfied with your answer. Are you saying that the problem could have been solved if the investigation was not suspended?
The investigation should not be suspended, and the problem will
I am
be solved.
asking, are you saying that the problem could have been solved if the investigation was not suspended?
Yes.
Okay, very well. So can such harm be solved by other remedies?
No.
Why do you say that, Mr. Speaker? Are you not aware of the measures that our country has taken?
The measures that our country has taken are impartial, ineffective, and apart from that, they are also delayed.
What is the evidence that our measures are impartial? Is it not that our persons are persons that we are convicting? Are they not meant to be separated from the state? If you are trying to put a criticism against the PNP or the NBI, saying that there are police officers, let's say, that are guilty of a crime, as you mentioned, of the killing, right? Then doesn't that mean that in the eyes of the law, we should separate them from the organization?
No, I am not referring to the criminals. However, I am referring to the people who are investigating, where the DOJ and the PNP are under the executive department, specifically the DOJ, because
Okay,
the PNP
thank
is
you,
under the
Mr. Speaker. I
NAPOLCOM.
am satisfied
You
with your
proceed
answer,
with the
but are you not
next
aware that there was the establishment of the Internal Affairs Services?
I am aware. However, the Internal Affairs Services still
Okay, so
submit their report to the
thank you, Mr.
DOJ.
Speaker. I am satisfied with your answer. What
Okay,
about the
proceed.
memorandum agreement between the NBI and the PNP?
The NBI is under the DOJ. The DOJ
Yes,
is an
but are
alter
you
ego of
aware
the
of this?
president.
Are
which
you
supports-
aware? Are you aware
Yes,
of
I
this
am aware of
memorandum
this.
agreement? So
Because
does this
that
not
is the-
prove? Excuse me, Mr. Speaker. Does this
Okay.
not prove? Does this not prove that there are measures that our country has taken? Are
No,
these
the
not
measures-
measures?
No,
Are
as
these
I've
not
said, the
measures that
measures
you
that
were
our
looking
country,
for?
as
Excuse
I've said,
me?
the measures that our country are taking are ineffective,
Yes.
impartial, and delayed.
All right, but is it not that there are already ongoing investigations of the human rights violations relating to the war on drugs?
Exactly. However, they are impartial.
So you
and they
are
delayed.
aware of the principle of complementarity.
Yes, I am aware of the principle of complementarity.
So that
However,
means
this
that
principle
the
is simply,
the ICC is the court of
Yes.
last resort, correct?
excuse me, moderator, I'm sorry, but I
Yes,
cannot
yes.
hear the
Can you
first
stop
speaker
the time,
of the...
please? Can you stop the time, please? Timer, stop, please. Okay. Now, can you put on your audio, Miss Speaker? You're a bit. Yes.
Mic test.
Come again.
Mic test.
Come again.
Mic test. Is
All
this
right.
better?
I think
That's
that's
good.
better.
All right.
Okay,
Sorry,
that's better.
please
Okay,
excuse that.
let's now proceed
It's all
to your
right.
question, Madam Speaker.
Okay, so is it not that according to the principle of complementarity, is it not that the ICC is a court of last resort?
Wrong. The principle of complementarity simply states that when an investigation is being performed by a state,
All right, thank
the
you. So you
ICC has the
agreed with me
discretion
earlier,
to
Mr.
suspend
Speaker.
or
I'm
not.
satisfied with your
Yes.
answer.
Mhm.
Mr.
Okay,
Speaker, you
satisfied?
agreed with
Proceed.
me earlier that there are measures being taken. So does that not mean that the provision of complementarity already applies? Therefore, implying that the ICC does not need to continue their investigation.
Wrong. Because as I've said, even though that there is already an investigation going on, the
Thank
said
you, Mr.
investigation
Speaker. I
is
am
informed-
satisfied with
is
your answer,
partial to
but
the
we
government.
have
Excuse
a
me.
common ground,
Excuse me.
yes?
Mhm.
Miss Speaker, excuse me for one. It's time for times. Can you start? Stop
Yes,
the time.
Mr. Moderator.
Please allow, because there is that instant that you're asking for a question and we have not heard any substantial answer from the speaker yet.
All
So
right.
if you just hear the no, please allow him so that because you're asking for something. Okay,
Yes.
so that the audience will also be able to understand what we are talking about, right?
All
So
right,
I think
Mr.
that's clear
Moderator.
enough. That's fair enough. They can
Yes,
proceed now
thank
to the
you.
next question.
Okay,
proceed.
so we have a common ground that is it not that the ICC cannot investigate in the event that the system of a country works.
Wrong. It is on the discretion of the ICC on whether to suspend or resume its operations.
All right, Mr. Speaker, but is it not stated in Article 17, number 1A?
However, the same article that you have made mention has provisions for us. It states that if ever that the state is unwilling, the said unwillingness, no, is defined by impartiality.
All right, so thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Are you
Thank you.
satisfied with your
Proceed to the
answer?
next
All
question,
right.
please.
So the
Satisfied.
government has filed cases, right?
The DOJ.
Yes, they have filed cases, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the courts have made judgment, correct? For example, the 3 police officers were convicted for the killing, of Kian de los Santos, correct?
So Mr. Kian de los Santos' case was an isolated case. It is a case where as the police officers were seen on CCTV cameras.
Yes, Mr. Speaker,
After
but
the
that proves
preliminary
that the court
rationale.
has made a
Okay.
judgment regarding cases involving the war on drugs, correct?
However, it
As there is a
was the court that
conviction.
created this action and not the DOJ, the
All
investigation.
right, but the NBI.
So thank you very much, speakers. So that was a very nice interchange of ideas, but then we are out of time. So we now proceed to the constructive speech of the first negative speaker from the senior high. You may proceed if you are ready. May I have your audio, please?
Can I check my audio? Is this all right? Am I audible?
Yeah, that's
right.
clear now. You can proceed.
Everything within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state. Honorable judges, esteemed moderator, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Debate rules provide that the affirmative side has the positive duty to satisfy burden of proof and establish the prima facie case of the proposition, but they failed to do so. And so we ask, does the status quo warrant a need for the ICC's continued investigation? As the first speaker of the negative side, I will prove to you that the status quo is working and already has the means and methods to address the problems. The affirmative side argues that the alleged crimes against humanity committed during the war on drugs operation calls for the continued investigation of the International Criminal Court. We have the following arguments to this claim. First, the proposition is not necessary, as there are already means to address this problem in the status quo. The principle of complementarity provides that a case is inadmissible before the ICC if it's currently under investigation by a state with jurisdiction over it. And there's evidence that proves the Philippines justice system is alive and working. The Department of Justice referred to the Philippine National Bureau of Investigation to review 52 cases where the Philippine National Police and Internal Affairs Services found liability on the part of its law enforcement agents with the plausible filing of criminal charges against PNP members. Any question of the validity of these investigations can be rebuked, as the authority of the IAS includes conducting automatic investigations of PNP members. Additionally, on 2nd November 2021, the Department of Justice signed the Memorandum of Agreement between the PNP and the NBI for their closer cooperation and information sharing in the investigation and filing of criminal charges with regard to the anti-drug war operation. Ladies and gentlemen, this clearly proves that their proposal is not necessary and basically impossible because the ICC cannot investigate as our country has facilitated and is facilitating its own investigations. This leads me to my second point. Granting for the sake of argument that the ICC could continue to investigate, they wouldn't be able to proceed to the next step of their investigation without the cooperation of the Philippines government. The ICC relies on cooperation with countries worldwide for support, as it's a judicial institution and doesn't have its own centralized agency or enforcement body. When the Philippine government disagrees to cooperate, especially on the grounds of my previous argument, the ICC is unable to proceed with its legal process. Granting without admitting that the state is required to cooperate, the principle of equal sovereignty will still prevail. It dictates that a state can generally control all activities within territory over which it has sovereignty. Thus, this entails that the Philippines has jurisdiction over itself. This is just another testament that there's no need for the ICC to push continuation of their investigation, and in doing so, they would violate this principle. Another argument presented by the affirmative is that the ICC prosecutor should continue the investigation so that justice for victims isn't further delayed. The following is our response. First, granting without admitting that our justice system is ineffective, there are means in the status quo to address and improve it. For instance, on July 23rd, 2021, the Philippine government and the United Nations formally launched the UN Joint Program Technical Cooperation and Capacity Building for the Promotion and Protection of Human Rights in the Philippines. Activities under the UNJP relate to human rights-based approaches on strengthening the conduct of investigations and filing of appropriate administrative and/or criminal charges on human rights violations, to name a few. Second, giving jurisdiction to the ICC will not guarantee a solution to delayed justices. Granting for the sake of argument that the Philippine justice system is delayed, where is the assurance that the ICC doesn't hold the same problem? There's no denying the criticism that the ICC received internationally for its shortcomings. Its lack of executive and enforcement power hinders the credibility of the information that they gather, and the court's lack of resources limits its effectiveness. The most concerning is the ICC's low conviction rates. It took the court 16 years to convict less than 10 suspects. In comparison, the Philippine Department of Justice convicted 3 guilty police officers in less than 2 years and is currently investigating 52 cases as a start to the review of 6,000. It has also been recently announced 3 days ago that the Department of Justice is also investigating 300 cases. Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, is our country not already ahead of them in terms of the investigation process? Where's the reassurance that there will be no further delays on their part? Continuing the investigation does not warrant the conviction of those guilty in the anti-drug war operation, and so the proposal is not a solution to the evils established. In conclusion, the affirmative has failed to fulfill the burden of establishing the prima facie case of the proposition. The status quo provides enough existing means to their proposal, and furthermore, they fail to prove their proposal is the only solution. No matter the outcome of this proposition, it's clear that the ICC is stuck in a position where they cannot continue. Oxford Oregon is a very scientific debate format, and one cannot merely content themselves with grandstanding and sophistry. We, on the negative side, are very proud to oppose. With that, I end my case, and I now submit myself for interpellation.
Thank you very much, Ms. Speaker, from the negative side, from the senior I. So we would like to call in back our first speaker from the affirmative side to give his interpellation. You can start.
Hello, Ms. Speaker. Good morning once again. I think you're muted.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, please. Sorry.
It's all
Go
right.
ahead.
All right. So, Ms. Speaker, you've made mention earlier in your speech that there's going to be a further delay in the ICC proceedings. Is that correct?
Yes,
I think
that
it
is
was in the
correct.
latter part. Are you aware that the delay is actually because of the deferral letter that was submitted by the Philippine government?
No, Mr. Speaker, I am not referring to the suspension of the investigation. Rather, I am referring
All
to
right, Ms.
delays
Speaker.
in.
All right,
Okay.
I am satisfied. Okay, so Ms.
Proceed.
Speaker, Ms. Speaker, are you aware of the difference of the cases of convicts that are being criminals rather that are being held or being tried in the ICC and that of the domestic courts? Are you aware of the difference?
Yes, I am, Mr. Speaker. I am also
Okay.
aware that the ICC only convicts their criminals for up to 30 years.
Okay, so then I assume that you are aware as well that the ICC actually tries heads of states and not simply police officers or civilians. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I am
Okay.
aware of that, Mr.
So
Speaker.
next, Mr. Speaker, are you aware that the president mandated the PNP-IAS and the DOJ to conduct the drug review?
Yes, I am aware of that, Mr. Speaker.
Okay, so Speaker, are you aware of the doctrine of qualified political agency, or simply the Alter Ego Doctrine?
No, Mr.
I made
Speaker,
mention of
would
that
you
in my
like
speech.
to enlighten me further? I remember you mentioning it in your speech, however.
But okay, sure, but it's not for you, it's for the public. So
Yes,
the
of
Alter Ego
course.
Doctrine is actually, in short, the representation that the head of a specific department must act in accordance with that of the head of state or the president. Okay, so next, Mr. Speaker, now that you are aware, is it not that based on the doctrine of qualified political agency that the DOJ is the alter ego, or the DOJ secretary specifically is the alter ego of the president?
Mr. Speaker, are you implying to me in this question that the president is above the law?
No. DOJ is an organization, is an agency
All right,
under
yes,
the
the Department of
president.
Justice. Yes.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much. Okay. So next, Ms. Speaker, is it not that the president is already charged with is already facing a criminal charge in the International Criminal Court?
No, he is not facing any charge against
But
the
yes, he
International
is.
Criminal Court.
But yes, he is. He
How
is
so,
facing a
Mr.
charge.
Speaker?
He's not being prosecuted. But however, Ms. Speaker, just for the public's sake, I would like to inform you that it was actually just released by News 5. Okay. Anyhow, proceeding with my next question. Is it not, Ms. Speaker, that under the doctrine of the Alter Ego Doctrine, the DOJ must follow the control of the president?
No, Mr. Speaker. As I mentioned earlier in my interaction with you, you are allowed to separate the person from the organization. The president is allowed to be convicted by our laws. It is not the first time that this has happened.
Okay, Ms. Speaker, I am satisfied despite of your wrong answer. However, let me proceed with my next question. Is it not,
Yes.
Ms. Speaker, that according to the Article 53 of the Rome Statute, the prosecutor may continue its investigation if the state is unwilling to genuinely carry out its investigation? Have you read the Rome Statute, Ms. Speaker?
Yes, I have read the Rome Statute, Mr.
Okay.
Speaker, and I mentioned in our interpellation earlier that the Department of Justice is taking measures. You agreed with me, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, indeed. However, is it not, Ms. Speaker, that I've also made mention that it is not impartial? Therefore, let me proceed with my next question. Is it not that unwillingness, according to Article 17 of the Rome Statute, refers to shielding the person from crime, unjustified delay, and the absence from an independent and impartial proceeding?
Mr. Speaker, we are not shielding the president.
Excuse me, Mr. Moderator, may I please first hear a
Yes.
yes or no, and then she may qualify afterwards?
Yes, you can answer the question yes or no, and you may qualify.
I'm sorry, but Mr. Moderator, we are not shielding the president. The first speaker,
Please
Mr. Speaker, is...
As I've said, Mr. Moderator, she's still
Yes.
not answering with the yes or no, then she can qualify afterwards.
Can you rephrase the question, please?
Sorry, let
Direct.
me just change the question again.
All
All right,
right.
so is the president currently suable? Can the president be sued right now?
Yes, he can, because he is not above the law.
Ms. Speaker, are you aware that there's actually the absolute immunity of the president based on the constitutional mandate? Based on
Yes,
the
Mr. Speaker,
Constitution,
I am aware of
1987
that. But
Constitution?
once again, there are measures that we can take against our president. There are measures like impeachment that we can take, therefore proving that the ICC continuing the investigation is not the only solution. That is what your proposition
Okay,
is
so
trying
thank
to
you very
imply.
much. That ends our interpellation. So thank you very much, first speaker from the affirmative and the negative side. So we now proceed to the next set. We would like to call in our second speaker from Classic to give his or her speech. You may now proceed.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. A body of men holding themselves accountable to nobody, ought not to be trusted by anybody. Thomas Paine. There was once a promise of drastic change in the Republic of the Philippines in order to meet the self-appointed deadline and to spread fear among drug personalities and violators. Agencies were mobilized. The promise that was made during Duterte's campaign sought the eradication of the country's drug problem in the first 3 to 6 months of his presidency. As a result, the number of violated human rights rapidly increased. According to Austin J. Freely in his book entitled Argumentation and Debate, as the second speaker of the affirmative side, it is my responsibility to present the benefits backed by proofs that are linked to the plan, caused by the plan, unique to the plan, and cannot be obtained by means other than the plan. But before I proceed with my speech, allow me to refute a point made by the negative side. The DOJ is working. However, the agency is partial and does not follow check and balances. We're letting go of the failure of the executive body to another executive body. And now for my arguments. First, in an investigation, the substance needs to be a priority as it presents the quality of that is of practical importance. Adopting the proposition would make the investigation even more substantial since the ICC does not limit itself to the reports solely submitted by the Internal Affairs Service, PNP. As a matter of fact, according to the response made last November 18, 2021, the ICC will still continue to analyze information already in the possession, as well as any new information they may receive from third parties, and is actively assessing the need for applications for the pretrial chamber for authority to conduct necessary investigative steps for the preservation of evidence under Article 18, number 6 of the Rome Statute. Next, the International Criminal Court was created to become an international and independent judicial body intended to investigate and prosecute crimes against humanity, genocide, war crimes, and aggression. Unlike the PNP and DOJ, where they follow the mandate of the executive, the ICC is not liable to the Philippine government and is therefore impartial. In contrast, in our country, the judges are appointed by the president is approved by the Commission on Appointments, while under the ICC, judges are elected by secret ballot at the meeting of the Assembly State Parties convened for that purpose. The persons elected to the court are the 18 candidates who obtained the highest number of votes and 2/3 majority of the state parties present and voting. Last, that being said, the ICC maintains its credibility as it does not benefit from shielding any persons from being investigated, as they are composed of elected judges. In the Philippines, given that the judicial body are mostly presidential appointees, the legislative branch is also occupied mostly by the allies of the president. Therefore, the possibility to obtain a genuine and credible investigation is ultimately compromised. And so, it is imperative that the proposition is adopted as stated in the aforementioned points. And with that, I submit myself to interpolation.
Sorry. All right. So thank you very much, speaker. So we would like to call in the second speaker from the negative side for the interpellation.
So good morning, everyone. I'd like to ask if am I audible and visible?
Yeah, clear enough.
Clear enough?
You can now proceed.
Okay, so Ms. Speaker, are you ready for interpellation?
First, Mr. Speaker, let's go.
Let's start then. Question, Ms. Speaker. Is our judicial system dead? Yes or no?
Not dead, Mr. Speaker.
So it's a no,
But
Ms.
it's
Speaker.
working.
So it's a no. So it's
Yes,
a no,
it's
Ms.
working,
Speaker.
but it's not enough.
Yes, so it's a no, Ms. Speaker. Our judicial system is alive. Next question.
Yes, it is,
Ms.
but it's not
Speaker,
enough.
knowing the scope of jurisdiction of both institutions, who is best to investigate the drug cases of the Philippines? Is it the Philippines or the ICC?
The Philippines can investigate, Mr. Speaker, but
Okay,
I am
so you
implying
agree
here
that it is the Philippine
ICC
court.
can investigate and can give a more, yes, a more substantial and impartial.
Thank you, Ms.
impartial
Speaker. I'm
investigation.
satisfied with your answer. But
Can
how
we
come,
stop
Ms.
the
Speaker?
time for a while? Excuse me, as your moderator. Can we just have put some order? Please allow the speaker to finish the very substance of what
Yes,
she's
yes,
trying to
Mr.
say.
Moderator.
Then you
Yes,
proceed.
Mr.
And if you are satisfied with what you have said, please address me so that I could stop the speaker from further answering the questions, right?
Yes,
So that's
Mr. Moderator.
the point that we're driving here. We would like to deliver what is the essence of our debate to our listening audience.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, Mr.
Can we now
Moderator.
proceed? Thank you very much. Proceed with the next question, please.
Okay, so is it not that the Philippines is the place of incident and ICC is not privy to the case, Ms. Speaker? Is it not
Yes,
that
the
the Philippines is the place of incident?
Yes, it is a place of incident, Mr. Speaker, but the ICC can investigate.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Speaker. So, Ms. Speaker, are you aware that the President is the chief foreign policy maker?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Speaker, are you aware that our country is not willing to cooperate?
Yes.
Okay, so then is it not that simultaneous investigation would result in different findings, Mr.
But like
Speaker?
what yes, it is. And that's what I'm telling you, that
Yes.
with the investigations of the ICC, it can be substantial and
Okay,
impartial
thank
than
you, Ms.
our
Speaker. I'm
our
satisfied with
judicial
your
system
answer.
here.
Proceed to the next question.
So you said, Ms. Speaker, that our country is unwilling to cooperate then. So do you still expect ICC to receive all the information they want?
Well, the ICC can still receive information from third parties, like what I've said, Mr. Speaker.
Okay,
While
thank
they
you.
are
I'm
while they
satisfied
are
with your answer.
investigating
I'm
here in
satisfied.
the Philippines.
Thank you. Proceed to the
You're
next
aware.
question.
Okay. You're aware of the rights of a sovereign nation, right, Ms. Speaker? Yes or no?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you. Which has greater authority to decide, Ms. Speaker? The sovereignty of the state or an international organization?
Mr. Speaker, right from the start, when we signed the treaty, and the ICC, we we promised or like we surrendered a part of our jurisdiction to the ICC and able to
But Ms. Speaker,
unable
you're
to
still
attain
aware of the
something.
rights
So
of our
it is
sovereign
not.
nation.
So it is not an insult to
Satisfied, I think.
sovereignty.
Okay, I'm satisfied with your
It's
answer.
not an insult.
Satisfied, I think.
So
Proceed.
given so given, Ms. Speaker, that you're aware of the rights of a sovereign nation, then whose findings are superior? Is it the Philippines or the ICC?
Well, our findings here is not enough. So yes, the ICC can
Whose
give
findings
more
are superior?
substantial,
Okay.
impartial.
So by virtue of sovereignty, Ms. Speaker, you're still saying that ICC's findings should be imposed?
Yes, because it's substantial
Knowing-
and impartial than the
I'm satisfied
Philippines,
with your question.
Satisfied.
I was
Which is
Proceed.
unique
satisfied.
to
To
the
the next. Satisfied. Proceed.
Okay, so Ms. Speaker, is the ICC the only court that can investigate drug activity in the Philippines?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So you agree that ICC is not our only resort? Okay,
Our
next
resort?
question, Ms. Speaker.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I still haven't answered your question.
Yeah. You want,
But you
you
said
want
no,
her to
Ms.
answer your
Speaker.
question?
Yes, can you repeat the question, Mr. Speaker?
Is the ICC the only court that can investigate drug activity in the Philippines?
International, yes, but in our courts,
Yes.
it can investigate. Mhm.
So thank you, Mr. Speaker. But you agreed that ICC is not our only resort. There are many courts that can investigate drug activity in the Philippines, especially our own court, right?
Yes, our own court.
Okay, thank
but
you,
yes,
Mr.
it can
Speaker. It's a
investigate,
yes.
but
Thank you, Mr.
ICC
Speaker.
can
Mr.
have
Moderator,
a
can
more
we proceed
substantial,
with the next
impartial
question?
investigation like what I've
Satisfied?
said.
Okay. Proceed to the next question, please.
So, Ms. Speaker, are you aware of the principle of equal sovereignty accorded to states? Are you
Can
aware of the
you-
principle of equal
Can you
sovereignty?
enlighten with me with that, Mr. Speaker?
So, for the benefit of the general, in other words, Ms. Speaker, states determine the law for themselves and not for others. So, are you aware now? Yes or no?
Yes, I am, but
Okay,
we're
thank you, Ms.
focusing on the
Speaker. Let's
investigation.
proceed to the next question. Is it not that the cases and incidents must be solved and investigated by the country concerned rather by an outsider? Yes or no?
Yes, it can be. It
Okay,
can
so
be
it's
solved
a
with the
yes,
country,
Ms. Speaker.
but
Thank you.
ICC can also solve them.
Okay, I'm
Because we
satisfied with
signed
your
a
answer,
treaty.
Proceed.
Mr. Moderator.
Proceed
With
to the next
ICC.
question. Satisfied.
Is it not that the ICC is financially dependent from country members? Yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, thank you. So can ICC prevent withdrawal by countries from ICC? Can
Yes,
the
it can
ICC
be-
prevent withdrawal? Are you sure, Ms. Speaker? Did you read the article of the Rome Statute?
May you repeat your question, Mr. Speaker?
Can ICC
Can you make it
prevent
clear?
withdrawal by countries, Ms. Speaker?
No. Like what did happen in the
Thank you
Philippines.
then,
It
Ms.
withdrew.
Speaker. So can you
Then what's your
compel
question?
members?
Okay. So thank you very much, Speaker. So that ends our interpellation. So we will now proceed to the constructive speech of the second negative speaker from the senior high. If you are ready, Mr. Speaker, you can proceed.
Okay, so let's start. We are a self-respecting sovereign state, and we will not allow any other forces to impose their will on us if it's against our national interest. To our handsome moderator, worthy opponents, admirable judges, and to our fellow Augustinians, a pleasant morning. As the second speaker of the negative side, I reiterate our stand that there is no need for the ICC to continue its investigation on the war on drugs. It is my utmost obligation to present the disadvantages stemming from the proposition itself. First and foremost, continuing the investigation of the ICC is not pragmatic because it will be a blatant violation of the deferral request process, the international principles, and the Rome Statute principles. If ICC pushes to continue its investigation, it will violate the sole purpose of the deferral request and its process. Continuing the investigation also violates Article 17(1)(a) of the Rome Statute regarding the issues of admissibility. A case is inadmissible if it's being investigated or prosecuted by a state which has jurisdiction over it. We stand that justice system is dedicated to carrying out the investigation and prosecution on the war on drugs case. In addition, the Philippines withdrawal from the ICC took effect on March 17, 2019. Therefore, the continuation of ICC's investigation will violate the general rule of state jurisdiction. ICC has no longer the obligation to exercise its jurisdiction over the crime of a non-party territory. Given among us the basis of the ICC's jurisdiction is the ratification of the state on the Rome Statute. However, we have already withdrawn. We are imbued with the right to self-determination, and if ever they will continue, it is violative to the independence and the sovereignty our country enjoys. We should never submit our local autonomy to a supranational entity unless our system is dead. I repeat, unless our system is dead. Second, the credibility and reputation of both institutions will get tarnished by the outcome of investigations of both institutions if it is different. There is a possibility that the findings of the Philippine court will be different from that of the ICC, putting both institutions into a mockery. This is why the ICC operates under the principle of complementarity, emphasized as well in Article 17 of the Rome Statute, which states that the court can only exercise jurisdiction if and only if the national legal systems fail to do so, which is not the case in this country. What will be the use of the investigation made by the ICC if our current functioning national legal system has undertaken and continues to undertake the investigations of the reported cases? Will it overrule the findings of the Philippine judiciary? No. For example, Philippine police officers have been convicted guilty of murder and condemned them up to 40 years in jail each. If ICC has different outcome in this, then how will other state members of the Rome Statute react? Given that the ICC cannot provide synonymous outcome or an investigation of a state or vice versa, it will raise suspicion on the reputation and the ability of both institutions to handle cases. This suspicion tempers the credibility of both parties, thus reducing the trust people give them. Third, if ICC continues to investigate amidst the unwillingness of the Philippines to cooperate during the process, this will hamper the quality of the investigation process, diminishing the reliability of the results. I repeat, reliability of the results. If the Philippines enjoys the inherent right to full sovereignty and independence, and this means that it has jurisdiction over its territories above any other states, what more on international organizations? The fact that investigations are dependent of the cooperations of a country, and as a manifestation of our withdrawal from the Rome Statute, backed by the statements of our chief diplomat Rodrigo Duterte, we will never cooperate. Thus, the balance in hearing the sides of the accused and the accuser will be one-sided, given that there is no state cooperation regarding the cases because we have no obligation to do so in the first place. Therefore, investigations will be limited only to the extent of the ICC's jurisdiction, thus providing no concrete information to prove a case. If ever there will be, results are not reliable because the quality of investigation is not sufficient. Fourth, granting for the ICC that can proceed with the investigation and come up with a decision, ICC cannot enforce its decision. Thus, it's a waste of time and resources. At this moment in time, Philippines is not a member of the Rome Statute. Thus, we are no longer connected to the ICC. Whatever investigations are done by the ICC cannot and will never bypass the will of a non-member country. Our country has the right to have consent as an exercise of its sovereignty, in the same manner that the country has moved for the deferral of the investigation because of its working system and processes as a manifestation of its sovereign right. The findings will bear no further results if a state opposes, putting the ICC's investigation into naught. There's no binding effect on the outcomes of investigations on the court of this country. Whatever the decision is, it's the implementation still depends on the willingness of a state to accept it by virtue of state sovereignty. So based on the above and foregoing mention, we, the negative side, strongly believe that there are more disadvantages than the benefits offered by their proposal as against the status quo. I rest my case, dear moderator and respected opponent, and I humbly submit myself for interpellation.
So thank you very much for that compliment, Mr. Speaker. You indeed follow the advice of your coach. Anyway, so I would like to call in the second speaker of the affirmative side to give his interpellation. You can now proceed if you are ready, Ms. Speaker.
So, good morning, Mr. Speaker.
Yes. Good morning, Ms.
Are you
Speaker.
aware of your responsibilities as the second speaker of the negative side?
Of course, Ms. Speaker, are you?
What is it?
My,
What is it? Tell
my
me.
responsibility, Ms. Speaker, as a second speaker of the negative side, it is my duty to present the disadvantages stemming
Okay.
from the proposition
I'm
itself.
I'm satisfied with it. But
Proceed.
isn't it that your job is to prove that the proposition is not unique to the plan, not caused by the plan, not and cannot be obtained by any other means, and
Yes.
cannot be obtained by means other than the plan?
Yes,
Isn't it?
Ms. Speaker, and I believe and I proudly say that I did the job.
So, Mr. Speaker, you keep on mentioning that we should not surrender our local autonomy and that there's a breach of sovereignty.
Of course,
isn't
Ms.
it?
Speaker, who will? will-
Mr. Speaker, are you aware of the doctrine of auto-limitation?
I'm not, Ms. Speaker. Can you enlighten me that, Mr. Speaker? I'm a speaker.
Auto-limitation, Mr. Speaker. Right from the start, when we sign a treaty, it means that we surrender a part of our sovereignty to that, in this case, the ICC. So the ICC has the right to investigate us because the ICC has the jurisdiction to the Philippines. So would you agree with me that the Philippines the ICC can investigate in the Philippines
No, Mr. Speaker.
because of the auto limitation.
No, Mr. Speaker.
No, Mr. Speaker, no.
Mr. Speaker, is it not that is stated in one of the articles
Mr.
the
Speaker,
jurisdiction
it's my time
of the
to ask
ICC?
questions.
Yes, yes. Mr.
Second,
Speaker,
are
can
you
you,
aware?
can you put that on a statement rather than on a question form?
Okay. Ms.
Okay,
Speaker,
thank
let
you.
me remind you that the reason why the ICC has jurisdiction is
Okay,
because we are...
Okay,
I'm
satisfied?
satisfied with your
Proceed.
answer. Okay. Are you aware that the Article 17 you mentioned is incomplete?
How can you say that it's incomplete, Ms.
Isn't it
Speaker?
that the obligations of the Rome Statute remain despite having withdrawn, which includes investigation?
Yes, but it is only limited to the time when we are still a member. When we are not a member of the ICC anymore, Ms. Speaker, then we do not have the obligation to oblige at the rules of the Rome Statute because we are not a
Okay.
member.
Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, do you believe that domestic courts are working?
Of course, Ms. Speaker,
it-
they are working.
Yes or no?
Yes, Ms.
Yes.
Speaker, they are
Is it
working.
not,
Yes,
Mr.
yes, yes.
Speaker, that is it not, Mr. Speaker, that the judges here in the domestic courts are presidential appointees?
How can you say
Yes or
that,
no?
Ms.
Yes
Speaker?
or
Do you
no?
have the burden?
Yes or no?
Do you have
Yes
the
or
burden
no,
of
Mr.
evidence?
Speaker?
Excuse
No,
me?
Is
Ms.
it not,
Speaker.
Mr. Speaker?
No.
No.
The answer is
Okay,
no.
and
Proceed.
And while the ICC judges are elected by secret ballot at meeting of the Assembly State Parties, like what I've said in my speech earlier,
Yes, and so
are they?
what is
So
its
do you agree with
implications?
me that they are elected by a community of nations without the political influence of the Philippines?
Yes, and so
So do you agree with me that they are impartial and unbiased?
how can you say that they are
No,
impartial
but
and unbiased?
yes or no, Mr. Speaker?
No, yes, Mr.
Yes or
Speaker,
no?
they are
Okay,
impartial and
yes, very
unbiased.
good. Okay. So another one is that is it not, Mr. Speaker, that the one who implements the war on drugs campaign is the executive? Yes or
Of
no?
course, yes.
Okay, is it not, Mr. Speaker, that the one who investigates the extrajudicial killings are the DOJ or is the DOJ?
Yes, Ms. Speaker.
Okay,
yes.
then would you agree with me that the DOJ is part of the executive?
Of course, Ms. Speaker.
Okay, so
Oh,
Mr.
no,
Speaker,
no, Mr. Speaker. DOJ is
so
not
do
a
you
part of the
mean,
executive.
do you not part of the executive, Mr. Speaker? The DOJ is under the executive.
Okay,
So
Ms. Speaker.
next, so Mr. Speaker, do you agree with me that DOJ is investigating and also executing the war on drugs campaign at the
Yes,
same
Ms.
time?
Speaker. That is why it is a manifestation that our system is working. Our system has
System
measures
is
regarding the
working.
case.
System,
Yes.
okay, working.
Yes, the working.
But like what my first speaker have said earlier, are you aware of the doctrine of alter ego?
Of course, Ms. Speaker, I listened to
The
the speech.
DOJ is under the executive, right?
Yes, and so what is its implications? What
So
are you
they're-
trying to say here, Ms.
They're
Speaker?
biased because they are also they're also conducting the investigation.
Ms. Speaker, that's a heavy allegations, Ms. Speaker. Are they tried on court, Ms. Speaker? They are not tried on
Okay,
court.
next question.
Are they
Is it
convicted?
not-
No.
Next question.
These are just
Next
allegations.
question. Satisfied,
Next
Mr.
question,
Speaker.
Mr. Speaker. I'm satisfied. Is it not, Mr. Speaker, that the DOJ and the PNP are the collaborative body for investigation?
Yes, as a
on war on
manifestation that our
drugs?
system
Yes.
is
And
investigating.
is it not? I'm satisfied. And is
Okay.
it not, Mr. Speaker, that the PNP is the one who gathered the data and give it to the DOJ?
Yes, and so what's your
Then,
implication
Mr.
on this?
Speaker, is it not that we are driving off other cases that are related to the war on drugs?
Can you repeat
Yes
that,
or
Ms.
no?
Speaker?
Then,
You are
Mr.
rushing.
Speaker, is it not that we are driving off cases that are related to the war on drugs? Yes
Of course.
or no?
Of course, the focus
Of
is on the war on drugs. Then why
Of
should you
course.
include other
Are we
cases?
driving it? Are we driving it? Is the PNP
No, we are not
driving it?
driving it. We are not driving it, Ms. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, we are.
They
So
are
therefore, Mr.
separate
Speaker,
cases, Mr. Speaker.
do
We
you
are not
agree with
we
me
are not
that the
neglecting
ICC
the other
caters
cases.
more witness
Okay,
that
so speakers, time is up. Thank you very much for that wonderful exchange of ideas. So we now proceed to our third set. So we would like to call in the third speaker of the affirmative side for the constructive speech. You can proceed if you are ready. Please try to test your audio, please.
Mic test.
A little bit.
Mic test.
Right. That's good enough.
Then can you give me a minute, Mr. Moderator, to fix
Yes.
my thank you
All
very
right.
much.
I'll give you a minute. So again, I would like to remind all our debaters to refrain from continuing your questions unless otherwise it's answerable by yes or no. Please allow your opponent to qualify the answers if you wish so that we will have a better understanding of the issues that you're delivering at. So again, Ms. Speaker, are you ready? Not yet? Okay. Can you open your microphone, please? Can you test it a bit? Okay. So while the speaker is still fixing her audio, so I would like to take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to the organizer, of course, of the faculty and staff of the Social Science Department of the University of San Agustin, and to our honorable board of judges who are with us today, sharing their expertise. So we will have later on the result of this debate. Who will be the champion for this championship match? Okay, Ms. Speaker, I think you're ready now. Can you give me a thumbs up if you're ready?
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
All right. So you are audible enough, and you can now proceed with your speech.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. As the practicability speaker of the affirmative side, I have the burden to inform the public that the proposition on the continuation of the ICC's investigation on the anti-drug war in the Philippines has established necessity, offers substantial benefits, and is workable. However, before I proceed to my speech, allow me first to repeat the following points. The question of withdrawal and jurisdiction is not the issue here. We have rendered our sovereignty to the ICC since we've ratified it. It is not the question whether ICC can have jurisdiction under Article 127 of the Rome Statute, which was ratified before by the Philippines, that despite the withdrawal of a country, the Philippines or any country who withdraws has to cooperate with the Rome Statute. Number two, internal sovereignty is not violated because we have the principle of complementarity wherein the ICC will exhaust first under two guidelines of investigation, which is the partnership. The ICC first will exhaust all the efforts to ask consent from the state before in asserting its power, the power of the Rome Statute. Third, the second speaker of the negative side affirmed us that the ICC is impartial and independent. And fifth, despite sovereign equality is not absolute, especially that we have treaties to uphold, such as the Rome Statute, our human rights, and etc. For the purpose of technicalities of this debate, we invoke the planks of Austin Freely in his book, Argumentation and Debate. The planks, agency, mandate, enforcement, funding, and addendum will be covered in our affirmative plan through proving the inadmissibility of the deferral request of the Philippine government pursuant to Articles 17 and 18 of the Rome Statute. Having been invoked by our necessity speaker, this law, by virtue of fiat, has been immediately implemented. For this purpose, I will be focusing on how the procedures concerning the implementation of the said statute be done in such a way no overlapping and conflicting of functions. For the agency, under Article 18, Paragraph 3 of the Rome Statute, the prosecutor's postponement to the state investigation shall be open to review for or within 6 months after the date of the deferral request. Thus, the continuation of the investigation will be headed with the Office of the Prosecutor appealing to the appeals chamber against a ruling of the pre-trial chamber. Article 18, Paragraph 4, the appeal may be heard on an expedited basis. For the mandate, despite states' withdrawal from the ICC under Article 127, Paragraph 2 of the Rome Statute, the state's withdrawal shall not affect any cooperation with the court in connection with criminal investigations and proceedings in relation to which the withdrawing state had a duty to cooperate and which commenced prior to the date of which the withdrawal became effective. For enforcement, Article 2, Section 2 of the 1987 Constitution states that the Philippines renounces war as an instrument of national policy, adopts the generally accepted principles of international law as part of the law of the land, and adheres to the policy of peace, equality, justice, freedom, cooperation, and amity of all nations. And since the Philippines asserts non-cooperation, the ICC will implement two-step guidelines of investigation, partnership, and vigilance that were conducted for states that asserts non-cooperation. 5 approaches were used by the Assembly of State Parties under partnership to reach out to non-cooperating states. Utilization of channels of diplomacy, using measures of persuasions, incentivizing the state cooperation, imposing sanctions, and issuing judicial findings. This is to remain the independence of ICC to carry out the power of the Rome Statute and at the same time respect the internal. The same is also true under the precedent case of Office of Prosecutor versus Kenya, Office of Prosecutor versus Sudan, and Office of Prosecutor versus Afghanistan. As for the funding, stated in the Rome Statute, the court is funded by contributions from the state parties and by voluntarily contributions from governments, international organizations, individuals, corporations, and other entities. For 2022, according to the ICC annual budget report, 12 outstanding new cases will be investigated for 2022 and 4 previous cases from 2021, including the Philippines, with its $571 million budget for the Office of the Prosecutor. When converted, 1,842,800,000 pesos is solely for the investigation in the Philippines, compared to the Philippines budget of only 71 million pesos, or 7.1% of the total budget of the ICC. Justice delayed is justice denied. Prolonging the service of our needed justice is like rubbing salt in our bones, and the only medicine that could heal it is if we attain the justice we deserve as soon as possible. Thus, it is necessary, beneficial, and practical to continue the investigation of ICC that has already been started. Thank you, and I submit myself for interpellation.
So thank you very much, Ms. Speaker. So we would like to call in the third speaker from the negative side for the interpellation.
Good morning. Mr. Moderator, before I proceed to interpolate, may I ask if I am visible and I am audible?
Yes, you're visible, and your what do you call this? Your microphone is very clear.
Thank you,
You can
Mr.
proceed.
Okay, Mr. Moderator. For my first question, Mr. Speaker, is it not that the ICC cannot impose its will on non-cooperating members because of the principle of equal sovereignty?
First, good morning, Madam Speaker.
Mr.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
For my next question, is it not that the ICC has no centralized force ready to implement each decision?
It has.
So yes, your answer is yes.
Yes, it has.
Oh, okay, I'm satisfied with your answer. So do you agree with me, Ms. Speaker, that the ICC is helpless without cooperation of the states?
No.
Why, Ms. Speaker? Because we cannot enforce. The ICC is helpless without the cooperation of the states because they have no enforcement power. They have no police power to enforce to implement each decision.
Thank you very much. Allow me to answer that. The reason why there is a principle of complementarity is to make sure that the ICC will first exhaust all its effort before asserting its Rome Statute.
Okay, Ms. Speaker, I'm satisfied with your answer.
Okay,
so is it not the cooperation only guarantees enforcement of its decision?
What do you mean?
I mean, the cooperation of the states only guarantees enforcement of its decision. Do you
Yes,
agree?
if they will cooperate, yes, of course. That will give help to ICC.
Yes, it will guarantee the enforcement, but it will not guarantee if they will not cooperate. So is the withdrawal by the Philippines to the ICC a gesture of non-cooperation?
Again?
Is the withdrawal by the Philippines to the ICC a gesture of non-cooperation?
It's both. It can be an exercise of right, and second, it is yes and yes. It's an exercise of right.
Let me proceed to my next question. So
Next question, please proceed.
So do you know the context of the relationship between the ICC and Eduardo Malaya?
Can you enlighten me that?
About the deferral request?
Can you enlighten me further?
So it is not that the investigation was suspended because of the deferral letter of the president of the because of the deferral letter of Eduardo Malaya, which is the ambassador of the Philippines in the Netherlands.
Yes.
Okay. So what is new today as basis for the ICC to resume?
What do you mean?
What is new on the status quo that justified the continuance of investigation?
The Philippine government has not provided any.
But Ms. Speaker, is it not that our justice system works?
They only exist.
Speaker,
it's not working.
Let me proceed to my next question. Is it not that for ICC to resume, it must comply to the Rome Statute?
Of course.
So can it proceed since the Philippines is no more a member?
Yes. Article 127, paragraph 2 of the Rome Statute.
Okay, I'm satisfied with your answer. So can it resume since the Philippine courts and other can it resume since the Philippine courts and other agencies are in the process of trial and investigation?
Yes.
Okay. So can the decision of the ICC binding and enforceable to the Philippines, considering that the Philippines is no more a member of the ICC?
Yes, again, Article 127, Paragraph 2.
So what centralized agency of the ICC will enforce the decision?
Office of Prosecutor, they will appeal first to the appeals chamber because pre-trial chamber has already provided its findings.
Okay, Ms. Speaker, I'm satisfied with your answer. So, do you agree with me that the investigation and enforcement of findings or decisions are two separate things?
Again?
Do you agree with me that the investigation and enforcement of findings or decisions are two separate things?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. So therefore, it follows that if the investigation is allowed, it is not a guarantee that a decision can be enforced. So, for my next,
Investigation.
so
Don't allow me. It didn't allow
okay,
me to
Miss.
answer.
Okay.
Okay, proceed.
That's all. That's all, Mr. Moderator.
Thank you very much.
Are you satisfied with that?
Yes, I'm satisfied with that.
Okay. Do you have any more questions?
No, Mr. Speaker.
Okay.
Mr. Moderator, I'm so sorry.
So there's no more questions to be asked.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with your interpellation? Okay.
Yes, Mr.
Okay,
Moderator,
so
I'm satisfied.
thank you very much, speakers. So we will now proceed to the constructive speech of the third negative speaker. You may proceed if you are ready.
I'm ready, Mr. Moderator. Every
Proceed.
state is known by the rights it maintains. Honorable judges, esteemed moderator, worthy opponents of the affirmative side, and to my colleagues on the negative side, a pleasant morning. As the speaker of the negative side of the proposition at hand, it is my duty to prove that continuing the investigation of the International Criminal Court on the anti-drug war in the Philippines is not practicable. We, the negative side, strongly oppose the proposition based on the following arguments. First, the ICC no longer has authority to conduct an investigation. Second, the ICC will not be able to implement its decision because of two main reasons. First, the ICC does not have inherent enforcement power, and lastly, it lacks the necessary resources to enforce. First, the ICC has no authority to continue the conduct of the investigation because the Philippines is already conducting an investigation on the human rights violation related to the war on drugs. Given the status quo, the Philippine government has the main jurisdiction to prosecute international crimes. As stipulated in Article 17(1)(a) of the Rome Statute and the principle of complementarity, the ICC can investigate and, where warranted, prosecute and try individuals only if the state concerned does not, cannot, or is unwilling genuinely to do so, which is not certainly the case in the Philippines. According to the deferral request that was issued by Eduardo Malaya, the Philippine ambassador to the Netherlands, the domestic institutions in the Philippines are functional and more than adequate to address the issues and concerns raised. Also, several officials were already dismissed, arrested, and convicted on the war on drugs operation, which means that our justice system is working. The ICC can only act on human rights transgressions if the states concerned are unwilling or unable to prosecute the crimes within their jurisdiction. This is not the case in the Philippines. Next, granting that the ICC would conduct the investigation, it will not be able to implement its decision because of two reasons. First, it does not have inherent enforcement power, and it lacks the necessary resources to enforce. First, ICC does not have inherent enforcement power to enforce the laws prescribed by the Rome Statute. The ICC, as a judicial institution, lacks its own police force or enforcement body. Thus, it depends on cooperation with countries worldwide for support, specifically for making arrests, transferring arrested persons to the ICC Detention Center in The Hague, freezing suspects' assets, and enforcing sentences. It is uncertain if states are willing to use their military or economic force to remove an oppressive leader from their country. The ICC itself lacks the institutional resources to ensure that the defendants appear in court because it has no police force of its own and has no reliably effective means to compel states to cooperate. An illuminating example of this is the ICC's request of the arrest and surrender Sudan's President Omar al-Bashir for the commitment of crimes against humanity and war crimes allegedly committed in Darfur on March 4, 2009. The arrest warrant, first issued in 2009, was ignored by 19 different countries, 9 of which are signatories of the Rome Statute. Therefore, the ICC needs more international recognition, respect, and support for it to properly execute its power. Lastly, ICC lacks resources. The court is funded by contributions from the state's parties and by voluntary contributions from governments, international organizations, individuals, corporations, and other entities. Without state support and cooperation, the ICC would have no enough funding, no defendants to prosecute, and no evidence with which to conduct prosecutions, all of which would be contrary to the ICC's fundamental objective. Despite the number of signatories to the Rome Statute, there are more than 70 states that have yet to join, including the world's four most populous countries, which are China, India, United States, and Russia. This leaves the majority of the globe outside the legal jurisdiction of the Rome Statute. It should be recognized that the global legitimacy and the normative effect of the Rome Statute correlate positively with the number of ICC member states. The more willing to assist the court, the more effective it would become. For example, in the process of obtaining evidence or arresting suspects. The example of al-Bashir above demonstrates cooperation even from signatory states remains lacking. The serving as the enforcement pillar. Without state cooperation, the court becomes unworkable and it has no enforcement mechanism of its own. Furthermore, a lack of cooperation could increase the operating costs and diminish the court's ability to deliver justice in the eyes of the victims. Worse still, it might give a false impression to perpetrators that impunity is permissible and would go unpunished, thereby undermining the court's credibility. Ladies and gentlemen, we should strengthen our own institutions rather than have the ICC come into our country. We, the negative side, strongly oppose the continuation of ICC's investigation on the anti-drug war in the Philippines. Therefore, with the given plan and presented arguments, it is sound to conclude that the continuation of ICC's investigation on the war on drugs is not necessary, not beneficial, and not practicable. With this, I end my speech and humbly submit myself for interpellation.
So thank you very much, third speaker from the negative side. So before we proceed with the interpellation, I'd like to remind our debaters that to put order in the interpellation, please allow your opponent to answer whether the questions is substantially answerable by yes or no, so that our audience will be able to follow us clearly on the arguments that we would want to proceed. All right? So without much ado, we would like to call in the third speaker of the affirmative side for her interpellation for 5 minutes. You may proceed if you are ready.
Thank you very much. Am I clear, Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Madam Speaker.
Good morning, Ms. Speaker.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Hello. Are you aware of the Pacta Sunt Servanda?
Can you enlighten me about that, Ms. Speaker?
Is it not that Pacta Sunt Servanda, it's a doctrine of international law wherein we should abide with the international law that we ratified or we're binded?
Time, please.
Yes,
Excuse me.
I'm not aware.
Excuse me, put off the time. Excuse me, can you put off the time? Stop the time, please, for a moment. All right, there's a problem with the audio, I think. Third speaker of the negative side, can you test back your audio, please?
Hello, mic test.
Come again.
Mic
Right.
test.
Yes, third speaker of the affirmative side, your audio, please.
Hello, mic test.
Yes, that's good. Okay, we now proceed. Okay, go ahead.
All right. Are you aware of the Pacta Sunt Servanda?
Time.
Again, Speaker, can you repeat that again? About what
All right.
you said?
Are you aware that Pacta Sunt Servanda is international doctrine wherein we are binded by treaties that we ratified or signed?
Yes, I'm now
Thank you
aware.
very
But
much.
however, Ms. Speaker, we've already
Thank you very much. I am very
withdrawn the Rome
satisfied.
Statute.
Is the Philippines a prior member of the Rome Statute and has ratified the Rome Statute before?
Yes, they ratified
Thank you very
the Rome
much. Thus,
Statute
we are
in
aware of
2011.
Thank you very much. Thus, we are aware of the Article 127, Paragraph 2 of the Constitution of the Rome Statute.
Yes,
Are
I'm
we-
aware about the
Thank you.
withdrawal. We're in the withdrawal. was
Thank you very
effective
much.
for 1 year
Okay.
prior to the
Thank you very
withdrawal
much.
of the Philippines.
Article 127, Paragraph 2 states that the withdrawal will not affect the cooperation shall not affect despite the withdrawal of the state. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Number 2, are you aware of the guidelines of the investigation conducted by the ICC?
Yes, I'm aware.
What are those 2 guidelines?
Well, we have the
Just state the 2 guidelines, please.
2 guidelines were the
Thank you very much. I'm very satisfied. Are you aware that the 2 guidelines of the ICC is the mechanism, the ICC, to make sure that they are exhausting all efforts before asserting their Rome Statute, correct?
yes, correct.
Thank you very much. This is to make sure also that they are not violating any internal sovereignty before asserting their power of the Rome Statute, correct?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So, are you saying that ICC can still assert its effort despite the non-cooperation of the state,
No.
correct? it's contrary to your first answer.
Again, Ms. Speaker, can you please repeat your question?
I've said that there are two guidelines of investigation: partnership and vigilance.
Yes, partnership.
Correct.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I mean, what's your question? The other one.
Which
I
question?
wasn't able to qualify. After
Okay,
the
thank you.
Last question. I
after
think.
the two
Yes, the
mechanisms.
last question that you have
Thank you
asked.
very much. Okay, I'm stating that because there is a mechanism to make sure that internal sovereignty will not be violated. Do you agree that?
Yes.
Thank you very much. It will
Yes.
not be violated.
However, Mr.
I'm
ICC
very
is the court
satisfied.
of last resort. Mr. Moderator, may I qualify?
Yes, proceed.
Miss Speaker, our ICC is the court of last resort. The ICC is intended to complement, not to replace national criminal systems. However, in the case of the
I'm very
Philippines,
satisfied.
our justice system is working.
Proceed. Okay,
Are you
proceed.
aware of the case of Ivory Coast, Sudan, Gaddafi, and Congo?
No, I'm not aware. Can you please enlighten
Are you
me about
aware that all these states asserts non-cooperation?
Again?
Are you aware that all these states asserts non-cooperation against ICC?
Okay. No, I'm not aware.
So, are you aware that all these states have been convicted? All the person in question under these states have been convicted despite the non-cooperation of the states.
Again, Ms. Speaker?
Are you aware that all these states, despite their assertion of non-cooperation, the ICC was able to?
No, I'm not.
So you are not aware of these precedent cases. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. China and Russia is not part of ICC, correct?
Yes, they are not part of the ICC.
Are they part of UN?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Have you read Article 2 of the Rome Statute?
Yes.
What does it say?
The Article 2 of the Rome Statute says that
UN is in partnership with the ICC.
That UN is partnership, that we have a relationship.
Thus,
but
China
the ICC
and Russia
is
still
not,
has ICC.
But ICC is an independent organization.
Thank you very much. Madam Speaker, you've also mentioned that the quality of the investigation will be impeded if there is non-cooperation.
Yes.
You are saying that if there is non-cooperation, ICC could not convict people?
Yes, of course, without the cooperation
very
of the
much.
state. In the case of the Philippines, the
So you're telling me
itself does
Thank
not
you very
cooperate.
much. So are you telling me Ivory Coast, Sudan, Gaddafi, Congo, all non-cooperating states, was able to that ICC was able to convict the person in question is valid? Is invalid.
It's invalid.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so time is up. That ends our interpellation for the third set. And of course, that's also the end of our constructive speeches and interpellations. So we will have a break. And for that, I would like to call in our lovely and handsome hosts, Jerin and John. You can take it away.
Hello, sir. So, ayun na nga, no? Thank you very much sa ating mga debaters and partner. Hello? Yes.
Hello, partner.
Yan.
Yes.
Ating partner, no? Nang init ang aking katawan sa aking mga narinig, partner.
Oh, grabe
so
talaga.
mainit din ngayon, partner. It's summer na rin, partner, no? And it's around 10:47 and medyo tirik na ang araw. And mainit kahit nasa loob tayo ng bahay, partner, no? And alam mo, partner, feeling ko dikit na naman ang laban natin. This final round ng ating
Parang parehas silang magaling, partner.
Yes, partner. Grabe, no? Lumalaban ang dalawang departments, partner, para sa prestigious cup na pinag-aagawan ng mga departments sa University of San Augustine and also sa ating mga prizes na siguradong exciting, partner, katulad ng sinabi mo kanina.
And ngayon, partner, may chika ako sa'yo. So anyway, partner, may balita daw. May balita ako sa'yo, partner, and sa ating mga audience. So, partner, yung prizes natin daw, partner.
Wow! Sige nga. Pakinggan natin kung ano yung mga prizes at pwedeng panalunan ng ating mga winners sa ating St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series.
Ready na ba ang ating mga audience? And ikaw, partner, ready na ba?
Yeah. By the way, before we announce the prizes, no, our debaters are now in the breakout rooms and they will be given 10 minutes to construct their rebuttal speeches, partner, no? And after 10 minutes, they will be going back here sa ating Zoom and they will deliver their rebuttal speech, partner.
Yes, eto na nga partner, yung prizes natin, 1K for second runner-up and for the COC, ang ating second runner-up partner nung nakaraan, and 3K for first runner-up to be announced, 5K naman partner, and 2K traditional and for champion to be announced then partner mamaya. And of course, lastly, 1K gifts and trophies for both best speaker and best debater.
Wow naman, grabe. That's 5,000 pesos, no? And the trophies, yung prestigious cup na pinag-aagawan and the lead trophy na inihanda ng ating organizer for the winner ng ating St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate 2022 partner, no? And grabe, meron din tayong 1,000 pesos each for our best speaker and best debater partner, no? So, ayun nga partner, I think we need to go sa ating FB Live and magbasa muna tayo ng mga coming from our supporters and viewers doon, no, sa Facebook Live.
Naalala mo ba yung nakaraan, nag-trending tayo sa Palitson?
Ay, oo nga, no? Nag-trending yung Palitson ng senior high school nung nanalo sila sa semifinals ng ating Interdepartmental Debate Series. Ano naman kaya ang ihahanda ng ating winning debate?
Comment now.
Ngayon nga. Ayun, bukas ko mismo ng ating Facebook Live partner, no? Unang-una kita from Leon Ofnes. Wapo ang moderator. Sabi na nga pa, grabe, no?
Wapo talaga.
Grabe ba? Mayo?
And of course, partner, this is from Maxine Salares. Let's go, klase. Ibang klase yan. Go!
Yes naman. So sa ating mga senior high school supporters dyan, no, comment down. Ito from Jacqueline Ann Bayotas. Kampiyon, Padayon, Bangon, Ipakikbato, ang senior high. So ngayon nga partner, no, yung prestigious cup is currently nasa senior high school department pa. So yung tanong dyan is, madedefend kaya ng senior high school ang title or maiuwi ulit ng classy department ang prestigious cup classy department partner, no?
Ito, partner, our 10 minutes at last na partner. Okay, sorry.
Partner.
Excited.
So let's keep on reading, no, sa mga ano natin dyan, sa mga supporters natin. We have
ang moderator.
yes naman.
Currently, we have na halin yung tagaan ko siya trophy.
Ay, wow! So, yes, currently we have 90 Facebook viewers, no, sa ating Facebook Live. Don't forget to like yung ating student government Facebook page para mas ma-update kayo sa mga activities ng ating school, no, na inihead ng ating student government.
May viewers na tayo, partner.
Yes naman, partner. Keep your comments going, no, and also your insights sa nangyaring debate this morning sa ating mga live viewers dyan, no? And also sa mga participants natin sa Zoom, if you have any comments or gusto sabihin, no? We have here from I think we have our senior high school principal here, Dr. Mian Naharo, no? Sa ating Facebook Live. Hello, Dr. Mian.
Meron tayong comment from Kristen Joy Espinosa, Madaog Klase. Hello, sa ating viewers.
And from Eiffel Luis Reyes, let's go klase, rar klase. Hashtag ibang klase.
Ito from Kathleen. Sabi niya, talaba daw yung handa, partner.
Ay, social magpapatalaba. Virtual talaba naman.
Sarap yan, Kathleen. Alam mo ito makulit, partner.
Meron nakakatuwang comment from Gabriel Adams. Iba ako, iba tayo. Hashtag ibang klase.
Ito meron fan si Ram, yung third speaker natin. Nang Ram, please step on us, roar. Hashtag ibang klase.
We have another comment supporter from Senior High School Department. Go SHS Sakalam from Carla Charmaine Kamanjuve.
Ito from Ma'am Haro. Sabi ni Ma'am Haro, hello, congratulations organizers. Good job everyone. Thank you, Ma'am Haro. Ay, ito, partner, from Don Clyde Garcia Pedreo, may palitan ba ang senior high school? Magko-contest ako pag klase nanalo.
Wow! Sa senior high school daw, no? For virtual election, siya naman magko-confess pag nanalo ang klase. Kanino kaya siya magko-confess?
Kanino kaya? Kanino kaya yun? Ito kay Doc Menelin de la Fuente, ang ating Adit from klase. Hello, Doc. So, congratulations, my team classes for reaching the final stage of competition.
Ayan, meron pa nag-attendance no, sa ating comment section sa Facebook Live. Marjorie Joy Macargan. And also from Fayan, Senior High School, exclamation point. And keep your comments going sa ating mga Facebook viewers dyan. Baka may gusto kayong sabihin. And also, don't forget to send likes or reactions sa ating event for ngayong umaga. From Christine Joy Espinosa, the best mga speakers sang klase. Go ng Adalmarco, Michaela, and go ng Ram.
Ito meron din from senior high school. Marami din silang supporters. Tamo, senior high school, Bato, senior high. Senior high for the win. Luck to our senior high school.
Ito from Ron Dilia, Miga ko senior high school pero hashtag klase win pa rin. Go klase!
Ayan, supportive din si Ron. Kahit sino yung manalo o matalo sa competition na ito, importante yung experience nila partner.
Yes naman partner, manalo matalo. Well, walang talo kasi both of the debating teams ay naka-reach ng ating final round and hindi biro ang pinagdaanan nila partner no from the elimination round and the semifinals, and we currently have 1 minute and 30 seconds left na lang no para sa kanilang rebuttal speech, and in a moment babalik na ating mga speakers dito sa ating Zoom para mag-deliver ng kanilang rebuttal speech partner.
Yes, partner, and good luck to our debaters.
There's another comment from Justin Gaho, Padaog ang senior high.
Go, go, go! Mag-trending yung hashtag natin sa partner, umulan ng hashtag sa ating live Facebook Live.
Ayan nga, no, ayan na yung mga senior high school supporters, no, from Mallory Catalan. Go to senior high school with red and yellow hearts. Another supporter from senior high school department, Karen Rose Cultist, hashtag Bangon Senior High School, hashtag Bato Senior High School, hashtag Senior High School for the win, hashtag Store High Senior High, hashtag Fly High Senior High, hashtag SHS Madaog, and hashtag Primo Senior High. Grabe, ang daming hashtag.
From Justin Gadjo, nagwapuhon ang senior high. Wow. Ayan na.
Perfect.
So our 10 minutes has lapsed. We will be giving the floor now to our handsome moderator and rebuttalist. We request our speakers to be back in the main room.
All right. So There you are. Okay, so before we proceed to our host and co-host, your tandem and chemistry, parang parang mga professional. I hope we could see you again next year. Wag mo na kayong mag-graduate. Anyway, so we come to the second part of our debate, the rebuttal. So if our rebuttalists are now ready, so we will start with the rebuttal speech from the negative side, from the senior high department. Anyone from the team who would like to deliver your rebuttal speech? You can proceed if you are ready. Yes. Can we now call in the rebuttalist from the negative side?
Hello, am I
Can
audible
you
and
test
visible?
your audio?
Yes.
If you wish.
Mic test.
Any on your camera? Yes. All right. Are you ready?
Am I audible and visible? I cannot see myself in the Zoom.
We can see you anyway, and you are also loud and clear.
All right, so I shall start now.
Okay.
After what transpired and what was presented on the first part of this activity, everything has been laid out and all doubts have been clarified. Our side clearly established that the following arguments presented by us is enough to refuse the resumption of investigation. First, the jurisdiction of ICC to investigate the Philippines was anchored in our ratification and membership to ICC. And since Philippines have withdrawn its membership, therefore, ICC has no more jurisdiction to investigate. Second, the ICC is a court of last resort and supplementary and not parallel to the country's courts because of the principle of complementarity, that the ICC cannot proceed to investigate if the courts and institution are doing its functions or working. This is categorically accepted by Speaker 1 when he was asked if there were persons convicted and cases tried in Philippines court and answered yes on such questions. Third, the ICC is helpless in enforcing its decision because it has no centralized enforcement agency and depends only on the support and cooperation of the members as categorically accepted by the third speaker of the affirmative side. Fourth, that confusion results if ever the decision of local courts is different from the findings of ICC, putting themselves in great dismay because neither of them can impose the decision against the other as categorically accepted by the second speaker of the affirmative side. Fifth, that cooperation of members by ICC guarantees success of investigation, and just the same, you cannot expect support cooperation by countries subject to investigation. Sixth, the proposition does not solve the evils or problems of status quo because it does not warrant a conviction, and as such, it is not the solution of said problem, thereby failure to establish burden of proof or prima facie case of the proposition. Seventh, that all states enjoy equal sovereignty, thereby they must refrain from outside interference and enjoy freedom, autonomy in determining what is best for themselves, and ICC, whereas not in equal footing with sovereign states, thereby do not expect to enjoy like states with more, so cannot impose itself with nation or states as categorically accepted by speaker number 2 of the affirmative side. Eighth, the first and second speaker mentioned that our court is impartial. Therefore, it calls for the continued investigation of the ICC. However, whether our court is impartial or not is another issue subject to debate. The separation of power and independence of the judiciary from executive guarantee that the president has no control in our judicial system. On the other hand, and what is fatal, our opponents were not able to clearly establish that indeed there is a problem with the status quo and that correspondingly, the proposal is the only solution to the said problem, thereby resulting to non-establishment of prima facie case or burden of proof on their part. Our side also identified the following fallacious and erroneous argument made by our opponents. First, assumption non probata. The affirmative side assumed that the judges are influenced by the president and cannot come up with fair judgment, thus reducing our court to impartial without presenting sufficient proof for this claim. Second, the affirmative side assumed allegations as evidence despite it not being equivalent to proof and immediately jumped to the conclusion that the ICC's investigation is the only solution. Speaker 1 and 2 mentioned allegations regarding the discrepancy and evilness of officers. Were they convicted? Were they tried and filed in court? Were there proper cases and convictions regarding those politicians or people with rank? All the more reason why the supporting arguments of the affirmative side are based on a baseless allegation. They simply assume the truth of an unproven premise without giving any evidence to support it, as asked by our second negative speaker. Next, non sequitur. First, it does not follow that the ICC has jurisdiction. Its discussion is enforceable to the country concerned because such also enjoys and exercises equal sovereignty. Second, it does not follow that when countries join ICC, it totally waived its right in favor of its organization because the motivation in joining is the receipt of benefit issued from the organization. Third, it does not follow that my membership is perpetual, hence I am duty bound to abide in the ICC because the membership can be terminated anytime. Fourth, it does not follow that prosecution and enforcement is the same, because if ICC can prosecute motu proprio, but for enforcement, it requires support of the members and countries subjected to that decision. Fifth, it does not follow that the ICC can only try heads of state. The ICC has convicted leaders of rebel groups and members of religious groups, which is proof that ICC tries non-heads of state. Six, it does not follow that the example stated by the third speaker proves that the ICC can continue to investigate without cooperation. She generalized the multiple Congo cases brought before the ICC, when in fact, in one case, President Joseph Kabila sought help from the ICC himself to try leaders of rebel groups, thus proving that there is indeed cooperation. Based on the above failures and inconsistency on their part, our opponents were not able to present evidence sufficient enough to warrant destroying the presumption in the status quo, enjoyed by the negative side, that the justice system on its own is capable of functioning and serving justice, and any efficiencies identified can be addressed within the status quo. There is no need for the ICC or any foreign organization to interfere with our country's sovereignty. With a healthy mind and understanding, there is no basis on their proposal to stand. Thank you and good morning once again.
So thank you very much, Ms. Garrido, for the rebuttal speech from the negative side. Now we would like to call in the rebuttalist from the affirmative side for 5 minutes. Please proceed if you are ready.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Okay. Test again. Test again. Come again.
Mic test. Mic test.
Okay. It's audible
Testing.
and you're clear. Go ahead.
Justice delayed is justice denied. For when the fundamental rights of life and liberty are already hanging in the balance, it is the court that must, at the risk of letting the guilty go unpunished, remain unforgiving in its calling. The need for an independent court is a compelling reason founded on the protection of the sacrosanct pillars of society, human rights. Ladies and gentlemen, the public, the affirmative side respectfully submits and affirms that the proposition that the International Criminal Court continues investigation of the anti-drug war in the Philippines is necessary, beneficial, and practicable on conditions as provided therein. Despite the noble intention of the negative side to break the arguments presented by the affirmative side, the former, however, forgot the burden of refutation by failing to provide information that could support and stabilize their arguments. Before we proceed with our rebuttal speech, let us first point out some policies of the negative side. The negative side has committed definite fallacy by creating confusions between two notions by defining one term of the other in her question, misleading the public. Hasty generalization by making a claim on evidence that is too small to provide substantial evidence for their argument. Conjunction fallacy by assuming that the outcome simultaneously satisfying multiple conditions is more probable than an outcome satisfying a single one of them. Ignoring the substance of the argument. Special pleading by using the arguments to support their position but ignoring or disallowing other speakers' arguments against. Misleading vividness by claiming that the Philippine judiciary is the only court that will investigate anti-drug war in the country and not the ICC, and only focusing on sovereignty. Now, ladies and gentlemen, allow us to expose the flaws in the argument of the negative side. The negative side has mentioned that they are not neglecting other cases. However, they have not established any proof that the domestic courts are capable and able to enforce its jurisdiction on the cases pertaining to their arguments. The negative side has failed to realize that human rights matters take precedence over national interest. The negative side has focused their argument on the sovereignty of the country when the issue pertained in the argument is with regard to the crimes against humanity. The operation of the courts does not provide any actual and substantial evidence that could support their argument that the courts of the Philippines is operational. The concept of sovereignty is not absolute, specifically when the issue before it is human rights. The negative side failed to comprehend that we are not bound by the ICC alone in prosecuting or investigating matters concerning human rights. The negative side failed as well to appreciate the human rights treaties we are parties to, and that the remedies for the violations of obligations under these human rights treaties are found within the ICC. Therefore, sovereignty is not absolute. The negative side has failed to show benefits that are caused by the plan, unique to the plan, and cannot be achieved by any other means than the plan. The negative side has failed to provide the planks which are necessary for the proposition to prosper. Thus, with such absence, it can be presumed that the negative side does not have a concrete plan that will make the proposal workable under present conditions. There have been no substantial connections with ICC, which does not follow the non-fulfillment of our obligations under human rights treaties. For in order to fulfill the obligations under human rights treaties is to find remedy under the ICC being the tribunal that has jurisdiction to try the presence. To reiterate, the proposition of the International Criminal Court continues investigation on the anti-drug war in the Philippines as beneficial and necessary. It has been well established, to which sadly, however, the negative side failed to present concrete and sensible reasoning. As mentioned by our speakers, there is a lack of independent and effective investigation on the war on drugs in the Philippines. And with that being said, the Department of Justice, among the agencies that is conducting the investigation, is susceptible to any forms of control that the President is capable of, influencing the results of the investigation, overriding the actions of the executive departments without the guarantee of impartiality. Even if the courts are able and willing to prosecute as a result of the investigation, the same cannot be premised from the facts called from prejudice investigations. Therefore, courts will be unable to prosecute in the interest of justice. The negative side failed to prove otherwise the contention of the political influence of the actors in the war on drugs by disregarding the same. ICC provides a forum where its very composition is not influenced by those who act in the domestic war on drugs. Therefore, a reasonable conclusion that ICC will deliver the true ends of justice. Another is the International Criminal Court was created to become an international independent judicial body intended to investigate and prosecute crimes against humanity, genocide, war crimes, and aggression. Unlike the PNP and DOJ, where they follow mandate of the executive, the ICC is not liable to the Philippine government and is therefore impartial. Moreover, the Philippines is signatory to the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If the Philippines can assail the validity of the Rome Statute, it cannot, however, counter that it voted in favor of the UDHR, which values rights, liberty, and dignity of persons. In the most simplest sense, the negative side failed to present a comprehensive plan. Hence, a debate without an argument is no debate at all. Thank you very much, and I rest my case.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. That ends our second part, the rebuttal speeches, both from the affirmative side and the negative side. Now, as your moderator, it's an honor and pleasure to be with you this morning. And I would like to congratulate, for my parting words, I would like to congratulate our organizer, the Social Science Department, headed by Dr. Edwin Samis. And of course, to our coordinator, and to all the faculty and staff, to the coaches, to the debaters. Congratulations. You are indeed a winner for us today. You have successfully delivered your part. And with that, to our judges as well, we would like to thank you for your time, for sharing your expertise for us. And so, to our lovely hosts and co-hosts, kabay pa nga hindi ka mo anay mag-graduate na duwa because your chemistry and tandem is very much interesting. So I hope that you will have to continue. Pahawidan na siguro isa ka subject para sa sunod to gara pa kamo. So with that, so thank you very much and have a wonderful UX celebration. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much to our moderators, Professor Demosthenes Toledo. No? Sir, mag-graduate kami, sir, pero willing to magbalik, sir, kung gusto mo mag-host kami naman. Last sem na lang, sir. Last sem.
I would recommend that. I would recommend.
Okay. Anyway, so partner, no, grabe, ang init ng rebuttal speech natin, no? So, yeah, wait lang, mag-graduate tayo, partner.
Manifesting.
So, ayun na nga, no? So, sobrang init ng laban, partner, no? Kitang-kita naman sa pawis ko.
Grabe ka naman, partner. Ang feeling mo naman, partner.
Anyway, so sorry. So, sa part ng program na to, partner, no, we will listen to our judges' comments, no? And if ready na yung ating first judge, we have our first judge to give her comment. We have Professor Julie Prescott. So, I'll welcome her and give her a round of virtual applause.
Hello, good morning. Hi, everyone. Thank you. I really enjoyed the debate this morning. I do think that I haven't enjoyed a debate in quite a while as much as this. So thank you very much to both teams. Now, what I would like to say is, as a final score, I have a fairly close margin. Not too close, but a fairly close margin between my two teams. Without announcing who my particular winner is in this debate, let me just say that the strengths of both teams really came out for me, very much so in the rebuttal area. I do feel, though, however, that in a debate, it should come out long before the rebuttal area. So therefore, the decision for my win did pretty much, I think, stem from the first speakers themselves. There was a clear break in terms of what both opposition and proposition stood for. However, I did feel like in that break, there were, I would like to say, a few lapses on both sides in terms of what they were trying to prove. I did find quite interesting, quite a few saves within, the interpolations and then with the following speakers. But I feel like if I did say much more, I would be giving away who I think won the match. So what I would like to say is congratulations to all the speakers for speaking very well. Congratulations on great rebuttals. I do feel like case building could be improved in both cases. And siguro, if given a chance later, once maybe there's a bit more of announcement, then I can quantify some of these comments that I made. But I do think it was a very enjoyable debate. So congratulations to all speakers and to their researchers as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Julie. So our second judge partner, we have Dr. Ronnie O. Galzote. Hello, Doc.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hi, good morning. First of all, thank you for inviting me in this your wonderful and exciting debate. Am I audible, guys?
Yes, yes, po.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. It really, first of all, it's really a shock on my part to be invited here and being contacted by your teacher, Miss Joji, I believe, and of course of the organizers of the debate. Guys, before anything else, I would like to congratulate you, all of you debaters from both sides, of course, the researchers and the what you call that, the trainers maybe, and for really giving a good tough fight in this debate. Number one, we all believe that debate isn't intended only for argumentation and display of skills and all your sometimes strength, but more than that, is about the truth. And as we all know, that truth right now and reality are being interchanged. That is the long pronouncement of John Bautista Vico when he said that factum et verum convertuntur, truth and reality can be convertible. But then we are online and we are aligned with our founder, St. Augustine, whom I also love much, but I am more on St. Aquinas and St. Lasal. Nonetheless, Augustine is also trying to tell us that our life should be based on veritas. Veritas is the Latin word for truth, but if you go deeper into linguistic study, veritas is not just a truth. It's about credibility and certainty. So we have the word veracity because this stems from the Greek word episteme, which means the truth that cannot be unshaken, the truth wherein the subject predicate are always necessarily, eternally, and infinitely go together. So for Augustine, veritas leads to divine truth. And I think our debate now is not only giving us the ideas of pros and cons, but more than that, we have to understand here that the divine truth, which is unshakable and formidable in eternity. So with that, we establish our arguments, and I'm listening to your arguments, guys. In fact, I'm listing all the arguments here as part of our, well, I always use this to my students when I teach debate class and in our One LaSalle team, that we have to always, as educators, you have always to list down the argument of the students, where the pros and cons coming from, and where the merits and demerits are going into. With this, some of the observation that I have is that, by the way, my scoring is also there, and the margin of difference is very small in some areas, but there are areas that the margin of difference can go above 3 or 4 points. Number one, some of the debaters here, without mentioning your stand, if you're affirmative or negative, some of the debaters are using the old tactic style to say that while you are having an answer, they kept on saying, "Oh, okay, 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 I'm okay with the answer, I'm good with the answer." That's an old tactic style, as we all know. And in the new format of debate, much more, if you are using this Asian part debate, you have to allow your opponent or your your opponent to finish his or her speech or answer before you patch in with next questions and patch in some you call that some comments. And if possible, guys, if I may just suggest, avoid those comments. Okay, I'm good with the answer. Answer. We don't anymore use that. Actually, I don't know about your case, but in the when we have a debate last time in Hong Kong, that is not anymore being used. If possible, just listen to your opponent and let him or miss the answer. From that, you can ride on with your next question, which is more valid and more, so to say, brutal, right? And number two, focus on the words being used by your opponent in the, in the speech or in the interpolation stage. A lot of words are being used here, which I am trying to record, and you can catch those words or terms, and you can use that as a bullet against them. But well, there are some who use it, but some fail to do it because they might be focusing on their on their pre-made speech already. Okay, so that's all my advice. And please, if you are not aware of the question given to you as a suggestion as a teacher and as a friend, do not say I'm not aware, guys. Okay, maybe you can find other words for that, or maybe you can find other tactic for that. Maybe you can ask your opponent, all right, what is that, can you tell me? Because once you're going to explicitly state that you are not aware of that, so what the heck would you do the debate if you're not aware of that, right? And that alone can nullify some, if not all, of your arguments, because the first place, you're not aware. So something like that, all right? So why are you here if you're not aware of that? Why are you debating with me if you're not aware of that? That's my point. I'm sorry, because the debate I might sometimes sound brutal in that case. So find other means, not using the word not aware. Although you're not aware, yes, I agree. You are very honest. But in debate, you have sometimes to use some diplomatic words or some euphemism as a clickbait, not to show that you are not really aware, okay, per se. And the last, fallacies are not really mentioned. Maybe you can build up more fallacies in your argument, I mean in your rebuttals speech. A lot of fallacies I recorded here, but on the negative side, she only mentioned two fallacies. On the affirmative side, minimal fallacy only. So you can maybe add more to that if you have trained yourself in the topic of fallacies. And last of my comment, on the third speaker, both negative and affirmative side, I think you have to understand that the third speech is practicability and not practicality. The two are different. Okay, we are not talking about practicality, guys, or pragmatic, approach. We are talking about practicability. You can check the book. What does it mean? All right. All in all, thank you so much, dear Augustinian blooded people. Maybe you know Miss Flora. Miss Flora is an Augustinian teacher. I don't know if you know her. She was my student in doctoral in LaSalle. Flora. I forgot.
Is it
Yes.
Flora Huhilia po?
Do you know him, Mister? Do you know him, Mister?
Yes po. She's my teacher sa theology. Flora.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's the reason why you smell holy water to me right now. And you smell like incense to me. Regards me to her, all right? Please, if you please, all right? She was my student in doctoral in LaSalle, a PhD in theology. Thank you guys for your invitation sa ako, no? And although I'm Lasallian, but I really also like Augustine before. We have also a lot of classmates before in UST, Augustinian. Maybe you know Father, never mind, I forgot already. So all in all, thank you people, and kudos to everyone. Debaters, work hard and keep on debating, arguing, not only for the sake of argument, of winning, but for the sake of the truth of veritas. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ronnie O. Gazotin. No? So I'll mention po kay Ma'am Flora Ohilia po. So yes, thank you very much. And for our third judge to give her comment, let's all welcome and give a round of virtual applause to Professor Belen Gabo Cariot.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning po.
It is an honor to be always invited in the championship part of the yearly or the annual debate series of the University of San Agustin. And before I give my comments, I would like to congratulate the debaters for the preparedness that they showed in the process of their presentation. And I also would like to congratulate the organizers, no, for dealing well, no, with the presentation, since this is our second year of presenting our debate series virtually. No. I also would like to commend our moderator, no, for being so alert, no, and very fair, no, in his dealing with the debaters. Okay. I would like to emphasize that the art of argumentation and debate, no, the objective of which is to inform. Of course, no, with the showmanship of our skills to discourse. With the evolution, now with the evolution of tactics and strategies in debates, now we are now trying to avoid the traditional strategy that we are using, and we would like to evolve into a more informative and polite, no, way, of presenting our discourse in a debate. Okay. I am so happy that our moderator manifests, no, that he is so alert, no, in calling the attention of our debaters when they already are getting beyond, no, what we believe to be within the fence of the proposition. Okay. I always emphasize this, no, during the critiquing, that if it is your time to interpolate, ask the question politely, and give time to your opponent to explain well and elucidate, no, his contention or her contention, so that it will be clear, no, and more informative to the listeners. Okay. When we are using statistics, we always have to take note that we should always provide the reference, no, that we use, or else it is always a fallacy. We do not present our contentions here using statistics, no, without any reference. No, we are not allowed to give our own personal opinion as to, no, statistics. So we always have to use reference and present the references that we use. No, okay. As we move, no, with the times of the debate, the art of argumentation and debate, no, we always have to remember that in the debate, no, it has three parts. It has the necessity, it has the beneficiality, and it has the practicability, as emphasized by Dr. Galzote. So we have to pound the necessity for the affirmative and for the negative that it's not necessary. We have to pound in the affirmative that it is beneficial, no, the proposition is beneficial, the contention is beneficial, and for the negative to be not beneficial. We have to pound in the positive, in the affirmative, no, that it is practicable, meaning to say it is feasible, it is possible, no, it is to happen. Okay. And for the negative, the impracticability, because in that way we will be able to identify whether, no, the prima facie evidence, no, is there, and whether the burden of proof was established. No, okay. I commend all the debaters, no, for the effort and for manifesting and demonstrating the well-organized, no, and prepared presentation. Okay. As to the fallacies, no, the team has researchers, no, so it has to, the researchers should facilitate and help the debaters to identify the fallacies that has been or that had been committed by the opponents. Okay, because when you are the debater, you have no more time to identify so much of the fallacies that had been committed. So it should be the researchers who should facilitate and help. Okay. As to the scoring, I same with the other judges, the margin is too close, and considering the presentation of both teams, I would like to congratulate you both. Okay, so that's all. Thank you so much and God bless. I hope that this will be continued as the years go by, because we from San Agustin has been identified for our debate thing. So for the social science department, for the student government, thank you for the effort and for facilitating to make the event very successful. Congratulations to all.
Thank you so much, Professor Belen, for the wonderful comment. So, partner. So for our fourth
Yes,
job.
partner.
Yes, partner. Hello.
Yes, baka may gusto kong basahin muna bago natin i-introduce ang fourth judge.
Yes, partner. Meron ditong comment from Dr. Mayan Haro. So, sabi ni Dr. Mayan, good job senior high school team. Congratulations for the fight. Ayun.
Yes, naman. Good job talaga sa ating dalawang opposing teams, no? And also, one comment na gusto kong basahin, no? Ibang klase talaga ang mga klase students, no? Sabi ni Yasser Beloga, iba ako, pero ikaw may iba na. Hashtag ibang
wow,
klase.
nahugot.
I think it's time for our fourth judge to give his comment,
yes,
partner, no?
Partner. So for our fourth judge, partner, to give his comment is Mr. Elcid Crescent Fernandez. Hello, sir.
Hi, good morning. So this is my, I think, I don't know how many years I've been judging this debate series. And I think every year it has been Class A versus senior high school. So I don't know what's in the water in both those departments, but good job on consistently making it every year. So for this debate, I'd like to congratulate both teams. I agree with all the previous judges when they say that San Agustin has been known for its debate prowess over the years, and I hope that this continues. And I hope that we continue to foster the culture of debate, in that we have intellectual discourse as we talk about the many issues and concerns that we have in our current society. Now, as for the debate itself, I have a few points that I'd like to talk about. Firstly, it was a very close match for me. Looking at my scores, I think less than 1 is the margin between both teams. So I'd like to mention a few things. First, in many ways, there was a lack of clarity in this debate. Why is there a lack of clarity? It stems from the inherent lack of discussion with regard to what are the effects, what is the process, what are the results, or what can happen from the statement of the motion. Like, what really is the impact of an investigation? What happens if an investigation is not to be conducted? Who is the investigation being conducted on? And whatever the results of the investigation, what happens after that? So if we're going to look at the motion itself, it says resolved that the International Criminal Court continues investigation on the anti-drug war in the Philippines. So when I say there's a lack of clarity, there was a lot of discussion on both sides on whether or not the justice system is working, on whether or not the police officers who were found to have participated in the drug war. Were they prosecuted or not? Were they found guilty or not? In the end, as a judge, I have to think, so if you're arguing on these points, so what? It doesn't really matter. Like, if the justice system is working, does that necessarily mean then that the ICC's investigative power is now done? Is it the same as prosecuting someone, an individual person? Is that the same as investigating a national directive or a program if it exists? So there are questions on whether the things that were being argued on were even relevant to the motion that we have. We have to recognize first that the motion is the burden of proof for the affirmative is very easy because the investigation already has started, right? So the question is whether it should continue, not whether or not it has the power to continue, but whether or not it should. So on the question of whether it should continue the investigation, yes or no, right? What happens there? Why? What does the investigation entail? So if you were to answer these fundamental questions, it would have been much easier for you to start talking about other things. You have to establish these logical fundamental bases before you can start springing forward with your arguments. Second thing, so what is the significance of the findings of an ICC investigation? So things like that. What does that do? How is the international community involved? Is it applicable to individual people, or is it applicable to a program? Is it applicable to the president? Because there are a lot of discussions on the president, the heads of state being investigated, or individual policemen. But the motion does not actually say that it will investigate this person or that person. It investigates the program or the anti-drug war, assuming but not conceding that it exists, quote unquote, just for the sake of the debate. There was a lot of faulty logical progression, like how the president should be prosecuted by local courts. One, the president cannot be prosecuted by local courts. He can only be impeached as he is an impeachable officer. Second, the president can be investigated still, whether or not he can or cannot be prosecuted. But again, that's beside the point, because the faulty logical progression stems from a lack of clarity into what really happens. So if we were to resolve that one issue, this debate could have gone a lot further and been a lot clearer for the audience and the judges as well. Second, this factored into the way I scored things. In debate, it's fun to be, to be feisty, to be fierce. We do that all the time. In fact, that was a lot of the main reason why I initially started debate, because I had a lot of pent up anger that I wanted to let out on my opponents. But at the same time, we have to think about the goal or that you have, right, which is to have an intellectual discourse. So in order to do that, everything that you say in the debate has meaning, must have a substance. You can't just sound good. You can't just try to make your opponents look bad. You yourself have to bring things into the debate that will let you win the round. Never lose sight of the objective, which is to forward constructive arguments that will actually win you the round. So just to sound sassy or to have attitude, while we appreciate that, it makes things a lot more interesting and more fun. It does not necessarily win you the round if it's not paired with any substance or any constructive argument from your end. So if you just gave us introduction and then just went sassy, that's not going to win. So there's a lot of talk as well about lack of definitions. So perhaps we could have done a lot more with that if we had already set out the understanding of what exactly are things that we're talking about. Again, this goes back to lack of clarity, but when I talk about definitions, is that a lot of you were mentioning the same word or different principles that mean the same thing, but using them in certain ways that weren't fit with your argument. So think about how a certain principle that you're mentioning actually fits into what you're trying to say. So does equal sovereignty actually apply with regard to the ICC? Is it a violation of sovereignty if the ICC actually investigates a government program, for example? So things like that. So it's not enough for you to mention a particular principle and then try to use it without actually using it for the right situation or the right argument. So there are a lot of very good things like great gravitas and charisma, but as much as possible, we have things that are already can't be taught per se. So we're good speakers. We transition really well. We piece together things that most people can't. But it has to be in a strong logical progression that there's no break in that chain, because then it destroys the entire mystique of what you're doing. So again, I congratulate all debaters. I hope that this continues moving forward. But I must also recognize that the motion itself was very one-sided. It was very difficult for both sides to essentially be on equal footing as they argued because of the nature of the motion, especially since the acting party or the body that needs to do something as subsumed in the motion is the ICC. None of us are within the ambit of the ICC or are really understanding of what things do. We can only speculate. So as for the debate itself, thank you so much for giving us everything that you had, and thank you for doing to the best of your ability. I mean, it still impresses me that to this day, undergrad students and high school students can talk about issues such as issues of national concern like the ICC or issues with the drug war. So I hope that this continues and we spread it around, right? We invite more people into the conversation. We invite more people to participate in forwarding their opinions and then checking their facts. We always want more people talking, even if what they're saying is the wrong thing. Let's use that opportunity to teach them how to interact or how to think in a more critical manner instead of just accepting things as they are or as they are presented to you, right? So debate is all about the conversation, all about an exchange of ideas. So I hope that this encourages people to give their ideas, give their opinions, and at the same time be open to being told that you could be wrong or that your opinions are based on false facts, for example. So thank you so much again for keeping this culture and keeping this community alive. And thank you for inviting me to be a judge today.
Yes naman. So thank you very much ating judge number 4, no? We have Mr. Elcid Crescent Fernandez, and thank you sa isang insightful na comment, sir. And also we would like to have you next year naman if sa ating 2023 na debate series, no? Partner, hello? Andyan ka pa ba?
Hello, partner. Nandito
Yes
po ako,
naman.
partner.
Yes, no. I have seen your comments, no, from sa ating chat box, no, from our judge number 2, no, Dr. Sabi niya, would be ostentatious if we can have a debate between you guys and our USLS debating team, college and senior high level, no? So we're looking forward, no, na magkaroon nga ng debate between the USLS and also sa University of San Agustin. So it depends sa ating organizers, no? And partner, for our last judge to give his comment, we have attorney Frederick Luis S. Against. Let's all welcome him and give a round of virtual applause.
Hi guys, good morning. Before anything else, I would like to congratulate both teams for doing pretty well. And the research was very extensive. And before I start, I would just like to say that since I will not delve on the issues of the process, manner, and method of debating, since this was already exhaustively discussed by my co-judges. I will delve more on the substantives of the debate. Since I am an advocate of international law, I think it's necessary for us to clarify things as pointed out by LC earlier, which I totally agree, there is a confusion as to what the ICC will be doing when it investigates, right? We need to clarify, and for everyone's education, that ICC will investigate not just the president alone or not just the police themselves, but it will investigate the anti-drug war of the Duterte administration. And as an extension, his command responsibility over the police, but not just Duterte alone and not just the policeman themselves, or not the policeman themselves. The counter burden is that, on the other hand, the courts can hear cases against the police, not Duterte, because pointed out by LC earlier, Duterte is immune from suit and he can only be impeached since he is the president, right? Now, when it comes to the substantive of the debate, we have to understand that we need, before we could even start arguing, we need to understand what the issue of the debate is. And I think this is a big miss for both teams, no? Because the first thing that we should have answered first is that, are the acts of the government, especially the question on the anti-drug war, specifically the acts of the Duterte administration in implementing this drug war, can be considered as crimes against humanity? Because if it's not, then the debate ends, right? So I think proper context should have been given there. If it is crimes against humanity, then the second question now is that, is the ICC the proper forum and the best forum to resolve this issue? If ever it is, for example, then government wins. If ever it's not, the next question would be, who can then be the best investigator and prosecutor of the Duterte administration war on drugs? So those questions were still very much vague at the end of the debate, but still I commend both teams for trying. Another thing though that I just want to comment is that I think this was pointed out by all of the other co-judges na matter vomiting, such as bombarding us with laws will not make you really win the debate. It is how you analyze these laws and translate them into complete and sensible arguments. I also need to point out that it's okay if the lines may be blurred when it comes to your speaker roles, because sometimes that happens and we're not really strict with that. But what is important is what will stick at the end of the day, because it is not only if you just merely fulfilled your roles, but if you've spotted the right issues, if you presented the right arguments, and if you justified your arguments well. So that is actually my main consideration when I was deciding for this debate. And I agree with everyone, this was a close round for both guys. But I need to point out how hard this motion is for the negative bench, especially that I already studied international law, and that international law principles and jurisprudence is on the affirmative side. Maybe there just needs some clarification when it comes to the motion, but it was a good effort for the negative side. But that does not really indicate whether or not I give the win to them. No, it's just that I need to commend them because of how hard it is for them. Anyway, that's it. Congratulations, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a judge.
And thank you very much to our judge number 5, Attorney Frederick Luis S. Legancia sa comment po, sir, no? Partner, hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So, partner, no, nag-iinit na nga based sa mga comments ng ating mga judges, no? Siguradong dikit ang laban between the Senior High School Department and the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education, no? And while waiting sa results, partner, no, let's read some comments, no, sa ating Facebook Live comment. Kasi parang ang dami pa rin nag-a-attendan sa ating Facebook Live comment, no? Please show your support sa our debaters and also to our debating teams, no? As I have seen here, maraming senior high school supporters na nag-comment, no? Kampiyon Padayon Bangon Pakigbata Senior High from JP Arguelles.
Eto, partner, meron pa din, marami pa din from Klase Department. Go Klase from Jenny Rose Bailon. Ayun.
Yes naman. And here, so ayun nga partner, no? So feeling mo, sino kaya ang mananalo based sa mga comments ng judges natin?
Ako partner, mukhang parehas naman magaling partner ang ating mga debaters ngayong morning. And parang ang hirap mag-decide kung sino ba talaga ang mananalo. Parang close ang laban natin, partner.
Tama ka dyan, partner, no? Para sa akin, dikit din yung laban, and I don't have any idea kung sino nga ba ang mananalo sa ating final round. And katulad ng sinabi ng mga judges natin, may mga points yung ating mga both opposing teams, and yung idea na yung sa negative side na they were able to do their best, no, para maano yung side nila, partner. And meron tayong comment from Eliden Terania. Klase.
Ano yung partner?
Gusto ko tarang isigaw kaso
Eto, let's go, senior high school. Meron tayong yellow heart at saka red heart, partner. Nakikita mo ba?
yes naman. Coming from Mary Am. Delca. Ang hirap ng last name.
Delcader. Let's
Yeah,
go.
let's go, senior high school now. And from Cassandra May Celis, go klase. Hashtag ibang klase. Ay, yung sinabi kanina ng isang comment na ni sino nga yan? Yung sinabi niyang iba ako, iba na rin ang gusto mo. Hashtag ibang klase na. So shout out to na rin sa...
siya doon sa part na yun, partner.
Yes naman. So sa mga Facebook viewers natin, we have 70 Facebook viewers as of the moment. So keep your comments going. Ipakita ang support sa ating senior high school and klase department. From Eiffel Luis Reyes, ayan na huy, hashtag ibang klase.
Ayan, solid supporter. Ito from Leon Oknis. Parang maraming fans yung first speaker natin, si Adelmar. Adelmar, gwapo daw.
Yes naman. Pag klase. Klase talaga. Anyway, meron tayong meron na tayong sagot from the coordinators na coordinator ng ating debate, no, from Miss Joji, no. Sabi ni Miss Joji, Sir Fernandez, I have messaged you your email, please check.
Yes.
Here. Ay, yung sinabi kanina ni Dr. Galzote, no, sana mabigyan pansin, no. I think it would be better kung magkaroon nga ng debate between the USLS debating team, college and senior high level partner, no. What do you think about it?
Partner, mukhang napaka magandang opportunity to sa ating university na magkaroon ng ganitong event, partner, in the future.
Yes naman, no. Let's see here. So, wait lang. And no. So, habang naghihintay pa rin tayo kung officially na ba na meron ng results, no? So, keep your comments going dyan sa ating mga Facebook Live viewers. We have, Don Clyde Garcia Febrio. Kinakabahan ako, paano pag manalo klase? Mag-confess na ako. Hala,
sino kaya yon?
Kanino ka kasi magko-confess?
Shout out.
Yeah, itag.
Shout out na lang doon.
Yes naman, pa-shoutout naman kung kanino ka magko-confess, no? Wait.
Ayan. Ano kaya yung mga course na nandito, partner?
Oo nga, no, may nakita rin ako, partner, nag-attendance pa as of the moment sa ating comment section. We have from BS Pharmacy 3D. We also have from BSBA MM 1A.
Eto, partner, napaka-exciting from JP
Yes, partner, I think we already have the results.
Ayan na ba? Okay. Napaka-exciting.
Yes naman.
Partner, meron na tayong result, no? And now, we will be awarding, we will call Vince Jovil Bandojo, the USAG Scores and Debate Committee Senate President. He will be announcing the winners for this final round ng ating series, and will be giving his thoughts.
Partner, I think talagang minamanin nila ang ating results as of the moment. So before we announce the winners, I think we can go ahead and give our certificates muna sa ating mga judges.
Yes, partner.
Can we go ahead and next ng ating slide?
Kat?
Yan. So certificate reads, no? Certificate of appreciation. This certificate of appreciation is awarded to Professor Julie Prescott in grateful acknowledgement for imparting her knowledge and meritorious service as a judge during the final round of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series given this 5th day of March in the year 2022 at the University of San Agustin, Iloilo, to be signed by Mary Divine S. Villaluna, President of USA Student Government, and also to be signed by Sunny A. Lasala, Advisor of USA Student Government, to be signed by Jerimar Jeric M. Anatan, RSO Coordinator, to be signed by Eric C. De Benegracia, Director of SAWO, and also to be signed by Father Jonas M. Mijares, OSA, VP of Augustinian Formation and Mission. So let's give a round of virtual applause to our first judge, Professor Julie Prescott. Next slide.
Yes,
The same certificate is given to
Dr. Ronnie Olga Sote. Congratulations. Thank you so much, Dr. Ronnie.
You're welcome. Thank you so much.
And the same, thank you as well, sir. So for our third judge, the same certificate is also given to Professor Belen Gabo Carion.
And next. And also to Mr. L.C. Crescent Fernandez. Thank you, sir.
Yes, and for our last judge, no, the same certificate is given to Attorney Frederick Luis S. Regencia. Also, meron din tayong certificate sa ibibigay sa ating handsome moderator, no, Professor Demosthenes Toledo. Certificate reads, Certificate of Appreciation. This certificate of appreciation is awarded to Mr. Demosthenes Toledo in grateful acknowledgement for imparting his knowledge and meritorious service as a moderator during the final round of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series, given this 5th day of March in the year 2022 at the University of San Agustin, and to be signed by the following people as well that I have mentioned a while ago. Thank you very much to our moderator, Mr. Demosthenes Toledo.
Thank you so much, the most handsome host.
Thank you, sir. And also, a certificate is given to our tabulator, no? To our
very
one and
own
only
tabulator, Dr. Rodora Cartagena. Thank you, Dr.
Yes.
Rodora.
And certificate reads, a grateful acknowledgement for imparting her knowledge and meritorious service as a tabulator during the final round of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series. So thank you, no, partners, sa lahat ng sa ating mga judges, sa ating moderator and tabulator for giving their time sa umagang ito para maging successful ang ating event partner, no. So again, isang malaking pasasalamat sa lahat ng dumalo, sa ating mga Facebook viewers and also to people na sa mga tao na dito sa ating Facebook, sa ating Zoom platform as of the moment, no. Ayun na nga, partner, no. So I think we already have the results and ready na nga nating share kung sino ang nanalo between senior high school and the College of Liberal Arts, College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education.
Yes, partner. Correct ka dyan, partner. And of course, kanina na-excite lang ako na tawagin yung ating USA Senate President. So, let us introduce him. So, let us all welcome Mr. Vince Jopil Bando, USA Student Government Senate President and Chairman of the USASG Scores and Debate Committee. He will be announcing the winners for this final round ng ating debate series and will be giving the closing remarks. Hello, Vince.
Hello, Rusty. Hello, Jaren. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yes. So good morning, everyone. The judges have given their verdict and the results are in. Here are our trophies. We have one trophy for our best speaker, one trophy for our best debater, and one new trophy for the best debating team, and of course, our most prestigious St. Augustine's Cup. Now, for the best speaker. Who's your bet, ladies and gentlemen? Our best speaker is the third speaker of the affirmative side, Ms. Ram Angeli Balasote. Congratulations to Ms. Balasote. Our best speaker will receive this trophy that is named Best Speaker of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series 2022 Championship Match. She will also receive a cash prize of 1,000 pesos. So congratulations, Ms. Malasote. Next. For our best debater, will it come from, again, will it come from the College of Liberal Arts of Sciences and Education, or will it come from the Senior High School Department? Our best debater is the first speaker of the negative side, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Angeli Marie Garrido. Same with the best speaker, she will receive the best debater trophy and a cash prize of 1,000 pesos. Congratulations, Miss Garrido. Now for the announcement of the winning team. The winning team shall be declared as the best debating team of the University of San Agustin and shall receive this trophy, the new trophy. And after 3 years of isolation due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the winning team shall receive the St. Augustine's Cup. They shall also receive a cash prize of 5,000 pesos. For the winning team, with a split decision of 3-2, the championship title of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series 2022 goes to the glory is yours, College of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Education. After many years of the St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series, the St. Augustine's Cup returns to the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences and Education. On this day, we have closed a new chapter of the Augustinian debate, Issue na Bansa. This is the theme for this year's Interdepartmental Debate Series. For the past 1 month, we have showcased the wits, communication skills, and ability to listen of our Augustinian students as they tackle social issues that are relevant to the present time of our country. With this, we hope that we enlightened our Augustinian students in various issues that we have raised. Despite the limitations of the new normal and as we transition to the online platform, we would like to thank those who made this event a success. To our contestants from the various departments, congratulations for a job well done. To our judges, our moderator, and to our tabulator, we are grateful to have you in our event today. Thank you so much for your efforts and dedication. To the Social Science Department, may we have a continuous partnership in our university events as we deliver the excellence of our Augustinian students to the community. And to those watching live and the whole Augustinian community, we hope that you learned something meaningful in our event, and we thank you for being with us in this year's St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series 2022. Jaren, Resty?
Thank you very much, Vince Joel Bandojo, and congratulations to the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Education for winning the prestigious cup and also for bringing back the cup now sa ating department partner. Again, congratulations to the Klase Department, and still congratulations to our Senior High School Department for giving us a good fight, partner.
Yes, partner. Napasigaw ka talaga, partner, ah.
Yes naman, no?
Yes.
Ang dami nagka-congratulations na from sa ating Facebook Live, no? Congratulations, and also to our best speaker.
Klase really proved na once again, ibang klase talaga dito sa College of Liberal Arts, Sciences, and Education.
Yes naman, partner, no? So again, congratulations din also sa ating best speaker, no? A third affirmative speaker, and also to our best debater coming from the Senior High School Department. Congratulations. Very big congratulations. And before we forget, partner, no, we would like to, kung pwede sana, mag-open camera lahat ng mga tao nandito sa Zoom ngayon for a picture taking, no? At least we can document this winning moment ng College of Liberal Arts and also sa ating Senior High School Department. Naka-open camera na bang lahat? Let's ipakita natin ang ating beautiful faces sa mga tao, no? Partner?
Yes, partner. Asan na yung ating mga... Ayun, sila Vince.
Yan. Again, we request everyone to open their camera na makita ang ating mga beautiful faces para ma-capture. Ano nga. So, think everyone is ready. Gusto pang humabol na mag-open ng camera, please open your camera, no? Our technical team will be taking the picture na. I'll be counting. And 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa. We have another slide. Again, 1, 2, 3, smile. And partner, thank you very much mga nag-open ng kanilang camera, and also to our judges. Maraming salamat sa pagbibigay ng inyong oras, and also to our moderator and our tabulator partner. No? Again, congratulations to the College of Liberal Arts, Sciences and Education for bringing home the cup sa ating department. Talagang dikit ang laban at naging mainit ang laban for the finals during the final round ng ating St. Augustine's Cup Interdepartmental Debate Series, partner.
Yes, partner. Partner, mukhang may sasabihin ka, partner.
Yeah, again, I think partner, Klase proved it once again, no? And that Klase Manwa tayo, partner, no? I'll take this opportunity as well to promote our program, no? That's AB Communication Program. Kaya sa mga nanonood dyan, if you can, if you wanted to enroll and you want to be a communicator, our program is open now. And partner, tonight is the awards night na rin ng ating university week, since this is the last day. Kaya abangan ang mga exciting moments na mangyayari mamaya. Sino-sino kaya ang mga mananalo sa ating university week activities? Marami tayong activities, partner, no? Sa nakaraang week, we have the Film Fest, Dance Crew, Pasig Laban, TGIF, and of course, finals of the Debate Cup. Ito na nga ang pinangunahan ng klase department. And also, we have the Grand Pageant Night mamayang gabi ng ating USA, Mr. and Miss USA partner.
Yes, partner. Napaka-exciting talaga, partner. And this is it. Kaya don't forget to share it with your friends to keep everyone updated. This has been a very great day, partner. And nauna na ngang magbunyi ang klase department. Once again, I am Jaren Belvis.
And I am John Rusty Balos. And again, congratulations to the College of Liberal Arts. And don't forget to like the Student Government Facebook page para maging updated kayo sa lahat ng activities ng ating school. And again, this is the final round of the St. Augustine's Cup
2022.
Yes, thank you very much and bye-bye.